Sit back and relax while I listen to Train Kickers podcast. I'm Dave, and along with my co-hosts Stan and Steve, we're going to take you all out in the world of miniature wargaming. On tonight's episode, we are again, unfortunately, saying Steve, I know he's just started a new job, has some issues with computer, so I know it's been, I think, a little bit of an adjustment for him lately, so hopefully we'll have him back on pretty soon. But since we are without him tonight, we figured we would continue our deep dives into 40k. On tonight, the goal is to get through the rest of the demons that we've been doing. So previously went through Khorne and Tzeentch, Nurgle and Slaanesh, as well as the Unaligned is our goal for tonight. For some other things, we are going to try to record a TTS battle report playing against some demons, and then whatever faction we do next, we actually haven't had a discussion about that. So you should get this from us this week, hopefully that as well, and maybe something else if I record some of the things that I planned on. I'm back working again, but I'm done each day pretty early, so it gives me some time to work on a few things. And now, on to the show. All right, Dan, it is Monday. I know at least I had to work. Are you teaching summer at all? Do you have to work?
No, oh, absolutely.
No? Okay.
I haven't done summer school since, I've been teaching for 12 years now, 13?
Sure.
Since my first 2 years of teaching.
Okay.
I did summer school for the two years. And then I hit tenure, and I was like, "Nope, never again. Screw everyone. I'm never doing this. I'm not suffering." I do summer work though, I do the curriculum,
okay,
and the benchmark and the test writing, and doing all that. That I don't mind doing because I could do it at the comfort of my home. I could sit down, relax with a cup of tea, do the work there. But summer school, absolutely not. No.
Okay. No. So you just avoid actually working with the students directly, which I don't blame you for. You do it the whole rest of the year. It's more than
and it's also so you have to realize. I love middle school. I love high school.
I don't know how you do. It's all terrible.
I love college too. No, anything that's not elementary for me is fine. But this is summer school, so these are the kids that failed.
Yeah,
and then you stick them all in one big room. So it's like it's not like summer college course. These are extra courses you could take. This is literally remedial.
Yeah, it's not option, and when it's option, you at least have some desire to do it because you wouldn't have to be there otherwise.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just, no. But like I said, just enjoying the summer, trying to relax as much as humanly possible. And that's about it.
No,
painting. I finally caved and bought Bellacore, sadly.
You did. It's not sadly. I'm fine most of the proxies, but especially when it's there's a good official model, because I think it is pretty good. It just helps, especially when it's this other demon, well, this thing's to this and this thing's to that.
Yeah, when you remove I think he was too cluttered. That's why I didn't like him. I clipped off all the chains. I clipped off all the chains. We're giving that to James because he has all the Khorne stuff.
Yeah,
I literally clipped off all the chains. I was like, no. You saw the pictures, right?
Yeah,
what he looks like. Yeah, so he looks, I think, a lot simpler and better in my opinion without all the ridiculous, because the base is already cluttered as is. The base is oh my god, I hated painting that thing. But the model itself, I don't think it needs all those chains and the wings. I think it looks good by itself. Just let the model speak for itself.
It's a not constant, but it's definitely a thing that GW does at times where they overproduce their models, where it feels like they have to fill negative space. And I think that can be a little over the top.
But like I said, now that I built it and painted it and it looks nice on the tray, Kaiju list finished. Yeah. So stupid.
Until Legitimate Night comes out, and then you got that.
Until I might not take the Night. Depends.
Yeah, but you're gonna buy one. You know it. You know it. I know
Lancer.
it.
The Lancer. Oh God, if it's as posable as a resin.
It's gotta be. It can't be less.
With plastic sometimes, because they have to build the gates inside the plastic. So sometimes you can't, but you could just cut the gates inside.
Yes,
so you could
that's the thing. Yeah, because they've done that before on big models, where they give you a gate, or they give you here's a fixed position, but you snip it, you can rotate
exactly.
it.
That's what the knees with the Knights. But yeah. All right, that was it. Long and roundabout way.
It's had to work today, but otherwise been getting back to painting. I'm working on the Inquisitors for Shatterpoint. Hopefully they'll be done. My goal is tomorrow. My 40k one part of the Leviathan box is about done. Then I have another half, so I got plenty more to go through. But that'll be for another day. So, goal tonight, like we said, we're going to try to get through the rest that we have of Demons. So we have Nurgle up first, because we're just doing it in the order from the index. So, like I said, we are currently recording this on July 10th. What we are going to say is accurate currently as of July 10th. All of this, I mean, when we taught, they put out an FAQ the day of the last time that we taught, so something could change. Hopefully nothing will be too different, but points, abilities, all of that is current as of the moment. So we're going to start with Nurgle, we're going to go Slaanesh, and then we're going to go through the unaligned. That's the overall goal. After we're done this, we'll see where we go next. Like I said, we are planning to do a battle report, hopefully like tomorrow. You guys will see it some later point, but hopefully tomorrow. I think Dan's doing Khorne, I'm doing Tzeentch, and then we'll see from there what we want to do. But
Nurgle.
Yep, but yeah, I'll do some Slaanesh stuff after that. It makes sense, or we can do against other factions as well. But if we're talking about them, it makes sense to actually test them out as well. All right, so like I said, plan is to start with Nurgle, and let me just adjust my screen a little bit. Oh, there we go. And for Nurgle, it starts with Rotigus. Now, did you want to start with him or no?
Yeah, I'll start with him.
Okay.
I was telling Dave before we started the podcast that this was actually an army I wanted to start, just pure Nurgle. I had pure Khorne. And the only reason I started pure Khorne was because someone gave me an amazing deal on 120 bloodletters and like 15 blood crushers, and I was like, well, I guess I'm doing Khorne. But Nurgle was actually going to be one of my first demon armies, because I love the Glotkin, that's what it is. Glotkin, and also I love just the Great Unclean One. It's such a stupidly cool model.
You're allowed to get like some chocolate in your peanut butter kind of thing. You're allowed to intermix here.
Well, yes, but I still have a couple Khorne models to paint. I like to finish an army before like with Custodians, I had like 600 models. So at that point, I was like, well, I could start something else now. I still have a couple demons to paint before I could say, all right, I want to start a new army.
I don't understand this idea of finishing a project before you start another one. Every person listening
is just like, what the hell is he talking about? What is this finish? Oh my God.
Though I will say, I think the oldest unbuilt box I have in my house is less than a year old. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, the only thing, I mean, I'll be honest, I can actually list what I have on my desk.
Your stuff I'm sure is done. I know.
Yeah, I have so I have for Custodians, I have the 10 Heteron and the Ares. And for Demons, I have 6 of the Theridons. That's from the Age of Sigmar guys that I'm using as brutes. A Forge World Bloodthirster that they don't produce anymore, and the printed Diablo that I'm using as basically my version of a knight. And then 3 Mechanicum HQs. Oh yeah, I have 30 Khorne dogs. Oh, I forgot about that.
I'm not even going to try to go through a bunch. That's all I'm going to say. A bunch.
Oh my God, I forgot about 30 Khorne dogs. Anyway, so Rotigus.
Speaking of overproduced models, although I like him, but he's definitely
actually no. I was going to say he's overproduced, but so like the chains on Be'lakor are like but this is more when it's like, okay, it matches the model. If that makes any sense.
Everything has a function to it, and it fits overall. Like the face that's poking out underneath his left arm.
Exactly. Like that's what I was just. It's over
the top, but it's fitting, so I'm okay with it.
It's fitting, exactly. So Rotigus, I think comes in at that's right, it's alphabetical. He's not
285.
So he's the cheapest. Is he the no cheapest named? I think cheapest named.
He was like tied for price wise.
No, the named ones we didn't check. Give me a second.
Yeah, Scarbrand,
I know is expensive.
Fate Weaver's the same price at 285.
Oh, 285? Oh,
yeah, they're both 285.
So movement 7. So he's, I think, the slowest. T12.
He's Nurgle. He's going to be the slowest.
T12, though he is the toughest. That's basically knight toughness at that point. He's got a 5-up. Who cares about the save? He's got a 4-up invulnerable save. He's got 22 wounds, which every named character, exactly. Every named character has more wounds than their normal named one. So he's got essentially the most. Leadership 6, OC 5. I'm surprised about the OC. I would have thought his fat ass would get more. Anyway.
I think that's more of a balance thing. I don't think they wanted any of the big boys to be much more than like a 5, because that's like an MSU squad you can be the same as or maybe above, but if they're bringing extra Marines, you're just not going to beat them.
So Rotigus, he's also deadly demise D6, which is great. So he's got a psychic power. At the start of the fight phase, you can select one enemy unit within 18 inches and visible to this model until the end of the phase. Each time an attack made by a Nurgle Legion Demonica model is allocated to a model in that unit. Add 1 to the damage characteristic of that attack. Remember, that also affects him, by the way.
Yes,
He is a
he is
Nurgle
within 18
Legion
of himself, and he is friendly to himself.
Exactly. There's the same. If any time it has any of these greater demons have an aura, and it usually affects their specific god Demonica, it's going to affect them.
Yeah.
Then you have the Deluge of Nurgle and aura. While enemy units within 6 inches of this model have to move and objective control characteristics of the model in that unit. Ooh,
this is why he doesn't need more than 5.
Yeah,
because he's going to half your number. It's easier for him to hold it.
And the move is sexy as well. That's nasty.
Having it is actually really, really big.
Also, so here's a fun fact. I'm reading it one more time, and I'm making sure I'm right, and I am. When an enemy unit is within 6 inches, all you got to tag is one tiny little millimeter of the base of that unit, and that entire unit is now OC halved and move halved.
Yes.
Nice. Is OC halved rounding up or down?
I could be wrong on this, but isn't everything in 40k round up?
I don't know.
Everything, as far as I know, has always been round up. 40k has always been a round up game.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I would 100% assume it's a round up.
Okay. Just wanted to check. But no, that's really cool. You just have to nasty touch someone. All right. Range weapons, 12 inches. That's very in line with everyone else, except, the Zinch, of course. So Stream of Brackish Filth. It's a devastating wounds. Hello. Yep. Ignores cover and torrents with auto hits. 2d6 attack. Yeah, 2d6 attacks. Strength 7, AP 2, 1 damage. Okay. I like it. It's a flavor with devastating wounds. Yeah. Strength 7, AP. That AP 2 is nice. AP 2 is really good this edition.
Yes.
Then he's got his stick, if you will, the gnarl rod. You can strike it or sweep it. If you strike it, it's 7 attacks. You're hitting on 2s. It's strength 8, AP 3, 3 damage. Not a bad weapon, actually. 3 damage. Could be 4 if you bless himself. Or 14 attacks.
Depending on what he's attacking.
The psychic one. Or 14 attacks, strength 7, AP 1, 1 damage, or damage 2. Okay. So he's not as melee as the Corrin, not as psychic as the Zinj, but he's fat, he's tough, and God, that aura is so good.
Yeah, the extra damage, I mean, lowering them is very useful, of course. That's good, essentially for him, it lets him cap what he wants. But Violent Blessing, being able to pick the unit that you really need to take out, is going to do a lot of good. Because as we're going to see as we go through this, you're going to have a lot of 1 damage, maybe 2 damage weapons. A lot of models have 2 wounds or 3. You're going to now, instead of be plinking a wound off someone, you're actually taking full models out. And like I said, you can choose the target that you need. Because it also, it's anytime you make an attack. So it's going to work in both some of the range you have. You don't have tons and tons of range.
No, it's only in the fight phase. Only in the fight phase.
Oh, my apologies. Yes, only in the fight phase. You're right.
Phase.
Okay.
I got you.
That's probably good that you wait till then to at least pick it. But these guys are more melee focused anyway, so there's not going to be much shooting, so you're not really losing much from it.
Exactly. Thank God he can't take the enhancement. Jesus Christ. I mean, the Great Unclean One's going to be able to take the enhancement, but thank God he can't take the 4-up Feel No Pain enhancement.
Yeah, no, the Great Unclean One, you take it on him.
Yeah, absolutely. But Jesus.
Yeah, he is his points cost plus 30 because you absolutely need that on him. Right. I do like this guy. He's going to do things very different than the Great Unclean One. So I think they both have a spot in the list. Once we talk about the Great Unclean One, we can discuss if we were running one, which one we run. Because it's easy to say you just run both. That's uninteresting, though.
I was thinking of the stupid meme. I think it was from Dora the Explorer. ¿Por qué no lo dos?
Yeah, why not?
Why not both?
All right. So speaking of Great Unclean One, he's 5 points cheaper. He's 280. So they're very, very comparable. Moves 7 as well. He's also toughness 12. He has his 4-up invul. 20 wounds, so he's 2 less wounds, but that's still a lot of wounds. Leadership 5/5 OC. We didn't say this before, but obviously everything in Demons is Deep Strike. Everything in Demons has their faction rules, so we don't need to say any of that. He has his own aura. His aura is that when a friendly Nurgle unit is within 6 inches, they get Feel No Pain 6 up. So he hands out Feel No Pain. And he also has his own psychic ability called Nurgle's Rot. At the end of your movement phase, you select an enemy unit that's within 12 inches of this model. Till the start of the next movement phase, subtract 1 from their toughness. So, yeah, obviously, if you have the points to take both, it's until your next movement phase. So I'll lower your toughness by 1, and Rotigus will target you in close combat to up my damage by 1, really cutting through them. But
that's deceptively good too.
That's exceptionally good in this edition.
Yeah.
Because you figure even in that, you might not be targeting, depending on where he is. You're not necessarily worried about targeting, say, your Marines or something like that. But you could target, say, one of those bigger, chunkier, say, vehicles or heavier units that you're looking at 5s on or maybe 4s, get that little bit better. You're really going to be able to start piling in. So far from what we've seen, to me, that's one of the, until we get to Soul Grinders or something like that, a lot of these units are going to be struggling against very tough items, very tough units, because you're not getting outside of some Corm things. You're not getting a lot of stuff at like strength 10s and above. So lowering there could really make that big difference. For range weapons, for this, yep, okay, just checking this thing. He has a plague. He's Plague Flail in range at 6 inches, D6 plus 1, hits on 3, strength 7, AP minus 2, 2 damage. And he has Putrid Vomit, which ignores cover as Torrent. It's 12 inches in this case. D6 plus 3, again, hits on 2s. I don't know why they bothered putting there, because it's Torrent. Strength 5, AP minus 2, 1 damage. So he actually does have some range with
both
damage
are AP minus 2.
Yes. And one of them is 2 damage, which is actually quite good.
Yeah.
For melee weapons, so he comes equipped with, where is it? He comes equipped with Plague Flail.
Plague Flail, yep.
Yep. And Bile Sword. So his Bile Sword, this is the one where you can swap back and forth. It's strike or sweep. Lethal hits on any of it. It's 6 or 12 attacks, all on 2s. Strength 8 or strength 6 if you want more attacks. AP minus 2 or AP minus 1 if you want more attacks. D6 damage for the big hit or 1 damage for the small hit. The sweep is kind of a bad profile, but if you had Rotigus getting it to damage 2, much, much better. Otherwise, I kind of like the other one. He also has the Bile Blade. It's extra attacks, lethal hits. 3 attacks, it's on 2, strength 6, AP minus 2, 2 damage. So, again, he's a melee monster. Makes sense for what he is. His other option, he can remove that Bile Sword, so his big weapon, and put the Doomsday Bell in. Doomsday Bell is lethal hits as well. 6 attacks on 2, strength 7, AP minus 1, 2 damage. So you're losing viability of big, powerful swings. The trade-off, or more powerful swings, I should say, because it's 8 versus 7, but more damage. But the trade-off is that each time a model is destroyed by the weapon, so that Doomsday Bell, you can select one friendly Plaguebearer's unit within 12 and bring one model back.
Lol.
Yeah, so if you want him to be, if you have Plaguebearers close to him, if that's the way you want to run it, he rushes in, starts cutting down some models, you get it. I think that's cool and fun. I don't know how viable that is, because you're on 6 attacks, your strength 7 is going to wound reliably, but AP minus 1.
You just take Rotigus and 3 great Unclean Ones. I don't see the problem. And you mix and match
I like
their
variety
weapons.
in my lists. That's the problem.
What's ironic is because they're so goddamn cheap, they're cheaper than my Bloodthirster, so now I have even more room to play around.
Yes. Yeah,
they
actually are
almost
cheap.
100 points. Let me see. Yeah. That's 15. So that's 20, 20, 20, 30. And then, so 20, 20, 30. That's 90, about 90 points cheaper. Nice.
Overall, and remember, so this is the guy that could take the upgrade to give himself a 4-up, feel no pain. Or no, sorry, it's 5-up and then 4-up if you're in your shadow.
Yes.
That makes him an absolute tank in every way. I don't know if I replace with the Doomsday Bell. I like it overall, but I don't know if I want to bank on removing his potential like D6 damages and things like that to maybe get a couple Plaguebearers across the game.
Yeah.
To me, the problem is that AP -1. That's because I'm not throwing this guy. Maybe with what he has, maybe you're throwing him at lighter things, but I want to be able to throw him at something a little bit more. So I want to be able to get into it.
You know what's funny now? Because I play the demon, so I know kind of ahead of. Let's say someone passes out AOE stealth, right?
Yeah,
For -1 to hit. Now you start entering like ungodly because now he's -1 to hit, maybe a 5 up or a 4 feel no pain, toughness 12.
yeah.
Ugh.
You can make it where he's really not going down. And or if your opponent literally fires everything constantly at it to do that, hey, you're doing well then because all the rest of your units get to play. You're definitely paying the price for his survivability, not necessarily his output if you switch to the Doomsday Bell, but I do think either option could be interesting.
Yeah.
If you only take one, which one do you take?
Okay. I would take the Great Unclean One because I
Okay.
like taking big beasts. But if I'm playing a more balanced, non gatekeeper, what? No, not gatekeeper is not what you called it. What did you call it?
I
Niche list? No. What did you call my list? I'm trying to remember. Oh my god.
no, I mean,
You called it
Gatekeeper.
niche? No,
It's
no.
niche, or gatekeepery isn't necessarily a bad idea because it's whether or not you can deal with it
Yeah.
is sort of a very big determining
So
factor.
because I love playing kaiju lists, I would take the Great Unclean One because he's less buff, more kind of damage.
Yeah,
But if I was playing a normal demon list, absolutely 100% Rotigus. Just for the sheer fact that he can buff the damage of the Nurgle units I'm taking, maybe the beasts. What's funny, I think he can even buff the stupid Demon Prince. Because does the Demon Prince get Nurgle Legion Demonica when he becomes Nurgle? Oh, give me a second. 115, that's I think
I
what
say you could
page.
check. I believe that
Yeah,
is
he gets
true.
he if this model has the corn keyword. Obtuse to this. Oh, wait. Yeah, because you have to select it. All right,
Yes,
that makes sense. So you either get Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, or Slaanesh. Okay, so
yes,
yeah. So you could buff the damage of the Demon Prince. The Demon Prince does actually do damage, like a scary amount of damage.
yes. The Demon Prince is actually quite good.
Yeah, so yeah, no, it's cool stuff.
Yeah. Um,
I'd probably
I
take Rotigus,
I think
honestly.
I for a variety list, I think I would take the same. The other one I think has potentially more survivability, especially can get the better feel no pain and everything like that, and he can help others out. If I'm taking like a mass horde style list, if I really want to try to flood the board better,
Yep.
I think I take the normal grid and clean one. Otherwise, I would take Rotigus as well. But okay, all right. Let me pause this. All right, we're back after a brief pause, so Dan can bring his dog in, and now he can talk to us about Poxbringer.
Poxbringer. He's not named, is he? No. No, he's not. Okay. Poxbringer. Normal character infantry dude. He's basically move 5, toughness 5, 5 up and one will save because he's got a 7 up save. Dear God. 5 wounds. Leadership 7, OC 1. He has feel no pain 5 up.
Yep.
That's the first native feel no pain I've seen. He's a
So far, yes.
leader. He's the Poxbringer. So while this model is leading a unit, each time a model in this unit makes an attack, successful on modifier roll of 5+ scores a critical hit. I'm assuming critical hit means auto wound,
No,
right?
critical hit just means you count as having rolled a 6, or you have a critical hit. You need something like lethal hits to make that mean something more. Yeah, a critical hit just means as if the same idea as like if you had rolled a 6. So it depends on the unit itself. The unit needs an ability that actually cares.
All right. While an enemy unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time that unit makes a battle shock test, subtract 1 from the test. Is that cumulative with Shadows of the Warp?
There is nothing about it that wouldn't be because it's a completely different named rule. And as far as I'm aware, there is nothing in the game currently that says you can't modify Battle Shock by more than 1. You can't modify to hits by more than 1 net, but there's nothing about Battle Shocks. Oh, the reason he makes the girl gets Plaguebearers have lethal hits. So essentially,
That
on
makes
5-ups, they get their auto to wounds.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. All right. And then he's got a melee weapon.
Yeah,
It's
he
lethal
actually
hits.
comes with a weapon.
Yeah, he does come with a weapon. Sorry, guys. He lethal hits, 4 attacks, 3s to hit, 5 strength, AP 2 damage. So it's pretty much a power sword. But the lethal hits is nice. So if you roll a 6, it just kind of basically wounds. Yeah, he's a buff boy. I mean, I can't really say this is gonna sound bad. I can't really say much about him. He's not like glowy and super attractive, but he works. I mean, making him -2 leadership is really good. If you're in the Shadows of Warp and near him, that's kind of gross.
For 7, because he's 75 points, I think he actually is a really good option when you're leading Plaguebearers, because one, like I said, he's making your Shadow Warp much more effective. He's taking your 6s to be lethal hits to now making it for that unit 5s. That means in this army where maybe you were going to struggle against some heavier things, because plague swords used to always have a thing of essentially in certain previous editions where they would auto wound on 6s and stuff like that. So it's very fitting.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I've never played Nurgle Demons, so I was like, oh, sweet, it's got
the idea with against like vehicles and stuff like that, or essentially they'd be poisoning you or rusting you out and all those sort of things. So that was a common thing in certain editions.
Oh, Plaguebearers do have it normally.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to
they
check
naturally have it. Okay. If they didn't naturally have it, critical hits wouldn't do them any good. So as soon as a character can do critical hits on something extra, that unit must do something good. This one does.
All right, makes sense.
Again, if you are sticking to the mono part of the god and not necessarily bringing unaligned units or naturally unaligned units like soul grinders to start with and all, you're going to struggle against heavier things. Going from 6s to being lethal wounds to 5-ups is a huge upswing. You don't have tons of attacks, so getting 1/3 of those, 1/3 of them total, a good amount.
Just a straight auto wound.
Yeah, and essentially half of the ones that go through, because you're normally hitting on 3s, so 2/3 of the time, 1/3 of that. So I really like him honestly for the 75.
Yeah, he's at how many points? 70?
75.
Oh yeah, sweet. Oh, 75. Oh, that's a good deal. Oh yeah, no, that's an excellent deal.
Yeah, and if the rest of the unit goes down, he at least has a 5-up feel no pain. So he himself, as he is at a toughness 5 with 5 wounds, he has survivability to be able to finish off either what you need or to try to maybe outlast something. But I really like him. And it gives you a cheap option for leadership, especially if you're doing a mixture. If you're doing a mixture, you might not want to fit a great Unclean One because maybe you just don't have enough points. This guy with a unit of Plaguebearers could do you something. All right, but like I said, there's not too much more to say about him.
There's the next one. The next one is great.
the scribe. Let me just make a note.
No. You say the full name.
Spoilpox Scrivener. I like. There's a lot. Oh, okay. No, that's some Nurgle symbols. At first, I thought it was like a whole bunch of stars that he has up high, but it was not that.
No.
I like his description. He's spiteful and pedantic. So they're auditing the tallies. Nice. Sorry, I went a little too far on this guy. I'm not looking at his main thing. Here we go. So he is a move 5. We're going to notice for Nurgle, their whole thing is that they are higher toughness in general. So what you normally might think of as a 4 or maybe in a 3, they're sitting on 5s. For this guy, 65 points. 7-up save, 5 wounds, 6 leadership. He grabs 1 objective. He is a leader. He is going to lead Plaguebearers. No surprise there. Keeping count while he's leading a unit. Melee hits equipped by the unit have sustain hits 1 ability. So, just to make sure people are aware of how this will work then. So, if he's leading the unit that gets sustain hits 1, Plaguebearers naturally have lethal hits. So, if you happen to roll a 6, what you're going to want to do is count how many 6s you had, because all of those now are auto wounds, but all those 6s stay in your pool because sustained hits means that you got that 1 extra. So the easiest way is just count up your 6s and leave that off to the side. Keep all the dice that hit, counting those 6s, and then roll to wound. Meet your quota. While this model's leading a unit, add 1 to the objective control characteristic of models in that unit. Plaguebearers are OC2. This puts them to OC3. And Plaguebearers obviously are a little bit tougher to shift than your natural battle line unit in the Demons armies. So it really means that they can get an objective and keep it. And we talked before about their you might remember the name of it. I don't recall the name of it. Their stratagem that lets them drop down in 3 inches.
Yep.
If you're OC3 with your unit and you're dropping down within 3 inches, if your opponent doesn't position right, you could have their objective instead because you only need a few models to start meeting the numbers that they might have. This guy's great.
Yeah, that's OC 30.
Yeah, even if you can't get them all, if I can get like 4, that's 12. That's more than a typical unit unless they're really meant to keep an objective for someone. Even if not, maybe even if I tie just so you don't have it. For ranged weapons, he has a disgusting sneeze. It is a pistol, which is great. That means you can shoot it in close combat. It's torrent, so it's auto going to hit as well. 6-inch range. It's D6 attacks. Strength 3, damage 1, but it's fun. It's just fun. The guy's 65 points. You're not taking him for that,
Exactly.
although it's a nice to have. His melee weapon, he has a Plague Sword and Distended Maul. It is up on his right shoulder. It has lethal hits as well. And again, he gives sustained hits. 6 attacks. He hits on 3s. Strength 5, AP -1 damage. You're not taking him to kill things. You're taking him because he's going to give you sustained hits. He's going to help you in an overall. Are you eating something?
I was opening a wrapper.
Because you're eating something.
I was trying to
mute if you're doing that. It picks up everything. And he's going to make sure you can actually grab that objective. So for this, I really like him. Of the 2 options we've seen, they play very differently. The Poxbringer you're taking to really help you deal out the damage, because lethal hits is going to do you more than sustained hits one.
Yep.
Because you still need to wound, and having to roll to wound's a little bit tough. But this guy is for taking the objectives. The other guy is when you want a Plaguebearer unit to actually cut into people. If I was running a mixture, say I'm not doing Mono God, he's the one I want because that unit's only goal is to score me points.
Yep.
Where in Mono God, I probably actually, if I have more than one Plaguebearer unit, I'm probably putting one of these guys attached to one, the other guy attached to the other. But I really like him. And he's a great looking model, and he doesn't have a mouth except for the mouth up top.
Here's the weird part. He's very busy, but he's goofy, and I like the goofy.
Yeah, I don't mind a busy model for those sort of effects because it's more fun. And this one is more fun. I just like how his main face doesn't have a mouth. It is the mouth up along his side.
Yep.
All right. That makes that
Epidemius.
Epidemius. Like epidemic. So Epidemius.
Is he in plastic yet, or is he still fine cast?
Ooh.
Or metal?
He's got to be.
This model is old.
It looks old. I'll say it looks old. I don't think he's got a new one. I'll look that up while I talk about him, but I'm going to check.
Yeah, this model is old. So, movement 5, toughness 5, 5 up invulnerable, 8 wounds, so he is chunky.
Yes.
7 leadership, 2 OC. He's blessed by the Plague God. So while this model is leading the unit, the models in the unit have 4 up invulnerable. Oh, wow.
So one better than normal.
Yeah.
It's not so big because you already have invul saves.
Yeah, true, but still, going from a 5 up to a 4 up
you're saving about 16.5% extra.
Yeah. Tally of pestilence. Keep a tally of how many models are destroyed by Nurgle Legion Demonica models from your army during the battle. Enemy models. Okay. At the start of your command phase, if the tally is 7 or more, you gain 1 CP and the tally is reset to 0.
Yep.
So is it every 7?
Every 7 models that you kill, when you go into your command phase, you will get a CP and then it's a reset. You can't. If you kill 14, you don't get extra.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. Okay, so it's just 7. Okay.
Yeah, because it does specifically say, unfortunately, 7 or more.
Okay, got it. He's got, actually not a bad attack. Still lethal hits, D6 plus 3 attacks, so minimum 4. Weapon skill 3, strength 5, AP 2 damage. So he does actually do damage in melee as well.
Yeah, 2 damage. If I want you to hurt something, if you're not 2 damage, then I'm not really worried about the damage that you're dealing, unless you got unbelievable amounts of attacks. He is still sitting with the available to order, so my guess is that he is fine cast. I'm trying to see it right now. At some point, they're probably going to mention that. Yes, finally detailed resin cast kit. Yeah, he's fine cast.
Oh Lord, this model has not
That's a
had an
shame because
update
he's
for
also old, so
years.
he might be a bad fine cast kit.
So because I've had fine cast before, it depends. I'm looking at him right now. Probably not. Only
He's chunky.
because, yep, he's just one gigantic model. Usually, the banner's going to be bent hilariously. But other than that, so small. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's tiny. So I mean, he's Italian man, so he's there. He's 85 points. Uh, wait, does he? And he just leads Plaguebearers, right? I'm sure he does. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
But he gives you a CP, and CP is so needed in this army.
What's needed in every army? Let's be honest. Every army wants CP.
True.
If you're not running mono, he's garbage. I wouldn't do it
I
because
wouldn't
you're
do it.
not going to run enough to get to the sevens reliably. And the one extra in invul save is a nice to have.
If it said,
but
listen,
not worthwhile.
if it said Legion Demonica, not Nurgle Legion Demonica, if it said Legion Demonica,
well, yeah,
okay,
but
now we're
it
talking.
wouldn't be fitting though.
Yeah.
Nurgle doesn't care if someone else takes it down. It's all about him. If I'm running mono, I kind of like some of the other ones better. I like that idea. It seems useful, but I see, at least in
God,
many
there's
ways,
so
Nurgle as the
many
surviving
heroes.
faction, not necessarily murdering. I think you will get turns where you get a bunch, but if you have certain turns where you don't, and other turns where you have a lot of destruction, won't do as much for you. I don't know.
There's so many heroes in Nurgle.
Yes, and all the ones that are leader, as we've seen so far, most of them just lead Plaguebearers. So Plaguebearers are a good option. Don't get me wrong; they're very, very good. But I don't know if I want to be choking the field full of them. So he's probably, of the three we talked about so far, he's sometimes ranked 2 and sometimes ranked number 3 for me personally.
I'll agree.
Yeah, I don't know if I would take him that much, but that's all right. Other people think, because next guy's gonna lead Plaguebearers as well. Everyone wants to lead Plaguebearers. They need something
Except
else.
the last one. The last one doesn't.
Oh yeah,
And the
yeah.
last one is one of my favorites because that stupid Nurgling. We'll talk about him later. Anyway,
Yes.
the Sloppity Bilepipper.
Yep. All
So
right.
stupid. So goddamn stupid.
Yes, it plays into the kind of fun nature that Nurgle can have, because this guy has a hat on and he's playing a pair of bagpipes, I'm sure made out of something horrible. He's a move 5. Surprise, surprise. Nurgle is slow. All their stuff is slow. Toughness 5. He has his 5 up invul. He's 5 wounds. Leadership 7. 1 objective. Like I said, he leads Plaguebearers. He has Jolly Gut Pipes. While he's leading a unit, add 1 to the move characteristic of the models in the unit, and you can reroll advanced rolls made for that unit. Pretty useful on the one that you want to try to score for you, because you're going to be a little bit faster, and rerolling advance means that you're much more reliably in the probably about 10 to 11 inch movement range instead of the 5 plus the D3, so more of like the 8. So you're ideally getting about 3, maybe even 4 more inches on average out of this guy, which is useful. I'm just trying to look for his points. There he is. He's 55, so he's cheap. And he has Disease of Mirth. It's an aura. So at the start of the fight phase, every enemy unit, not monsters or vehicles, within 6, take Battle Shock. If you are stacking this with some of the other abilities that we've been talking about, like the extra -1, the normal -1 for being in the shadow, you can really start doing a lot of mortal wounds to your opponents. His weapon, he has the Marauder, lethal hits, 4 attacks, hits on 3, strength 5, 1 damage, so be it, that's fine. You're not taking him for that weapon, you're taking him. The movement, nice to have. That Disease of Mirth, if you're really trying to play into the fact that I'm lowering for your Battle Shock and you're in my shadow, I'm lowering your Battle Shock, and I'm going to make you take a bunch of Battle Shock tests. This unit is going to be either, because notice, they don't have to be in combat, just have to be 6 inches. So either I'm charging my Plaguebearer unit into combat in the middle, or I'm dropping them in close, getting them into the middle of the opponents. I'm going to stand there, let you take Battle Shock. Notice it doesn't say your fight phase, just the fight phase. So I won't charge that turn, Battle Shock some units. Then maybe you charge me to deal with it. I Battle Shock that unit, anyone else you didn't move away. For 55 points, I like him.
Yeah.
I'm just running out
It
of.
sucks
I'm
you
running out of
can't
units
put
to put Plaguebearer.
multiple.
Put
I
Plaguebearer
know
people
it
in.
sucks you can't put multiple leaders in units. Although that
No,
can get
none of them have
stupid.
the
I know that
lieutenant
can,
ability like Space Marines got.
exactly. That kind of sucks because I could see this guy being a lieutenant. You know what I mean? This would
Yes,
absolutely 100% be a lieutenant.
I mean his points, cost, and abilities fit lieutenant style things. They really do. And like I said, the problem is unless I'm taking. So we've now went through one, two, three, four different Plaguebearer leaders. If I want to take a bunch of these guys, I'd take a bunch of Plaguebearers. I'm not saying that you're not going to do it, but you're kind of defining your list exactly if you want a lot of these
Exactly.
guys. So, but I do like him. I do think he's good. I think especially if you want to lead into was it the Poxbringer or whatever, the lowering the numbers. I think that's what you do. And again, I think this unit is being deep strike into them as close to the enemy line as you can, ideally with that minus that 3-inch part. And again, I'm not charging. That's not my goal. My goal is to sit there, get close, and start ruining your day. All right. We go from him to
Horticulous Slimux. Oh my god,
that is a name.
I do. This model is so stupid fun though. There's something about Nurglings in the Nurgle range that are just absolutely they. Whoever does the models for Nurgle, just A+ job, man. However you do these Nurglings, because they're like all over, right?
Because they're having
Like
fun. That's what his
exactly. So you have
Nurglings
this
look like. They're
Nurgling
having
here.
fun.
And you have the Nurgling that the Great Unclean One has, the one with the helmet and like he's like sassy. What is it called? Sassy Nurgling.
Yeah, sassy Nurgling.
Like, anyway, so Horticulous Slimux leads someone different. He leads Beast of Nurgle, but he is an epic hero, so you get one. Oh, so he is a beast handler. While this model is in a unit, you can reroll charge rolls made for that unit. In addition, once per battle, you can target that unit with heroic intervention strategy for 0 CP and do it even though you may have used that strategy in the different unit this phase. That already is amazing, by the way.
Yes. Exceptionally strong for this army.
I think it's because people haven't played much 10th yet and are used to the heroic intervention from last edition. But holy hell, is heroic intervention super powerful this edition. 6 inches and you can roll 2d6 to charge is absolutely insane. And he can do it for free.
And he lets you reroll.
Yeah, and he lets you reroll. So it's like
yeah.
Just ridiculous. Seed the Garden of Nurgle. At the end of your movement phase, if this model is within an area terrain feature. Oh no, is he? Give me a second.
Is he what?
A beast. Oh, he's mounted. This mounted. Okay, give me a second. Let me finish this and I'm going to check something.
Okay.
At the end of your movement phase, if the model is in an area terrain feature until the end of the phase, that area terrain feature is also considered to be within your shadows of chaos. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, he corrupts the stuff because he's a horticulturalist.
Yeah. Can mounted go through walls, or do they have to go around it?
Ooh.
That's where I was like, oh no.
All right, we're gonna pause and take a look. All right, so we took a brief pause there from it because we were trying to look up can mounted go through walls of, say, like a ruin that you have, and currently in going through the app and everything like that, mounted isn't listed. We also checked the Leviathan tournament campaign; it's not listed. So mounted isn't listed as a type. Specifically, it says for ruins, infantry, beasts, fly, they're all fine. So he is
an infiltrated beast can go through walls.
Yes,
which is fine.
And the unit he goes in is a beast as well. So I feel like this is an oversight, and he should have beast as well, or they haven't said something about mounted. I'd let him. His unit is. I'm not going to hold him back.
Yeah, exactly. In the Seed of the Garden Nurgle, if he can't go through walls, it makes this like completely useless.
Yeah, his ability would honestly be pretty bad otherwise. It's honestly like a lot of fun and pretty good as it is. You get rerolls. You can once per game 0 CP that, and though making an area piece of terrain shadow chaos means all of those stratagems that said when you're in chaos you get these bonuses, or your enhancements when you're shadow chaos you get these things. The area terrain I'm sitting in now just has that.
Yeah.
He walked through the area terrain in the previous turn. Now I can deep strike into it even closer just because he went through it previously. It does mean you do have to mark it, though, so I have some stuff to be able to mark all this for.
Yeah. He's got 2 melee weapons. He's got lopping shears, lethal
Yep,
hits,
lopping.
4 attacks, 3, 6 AP, 3 damage. Oh, that's actually okay. So that's actually a pretty damn good
With
melee
lethal
weapon.
hits, which is really nice.
Yeah, and acidic maw. This is his snail. Has devastating wounds, extra attacks, so you still can attack with this, which is great. 2 attacks at 4, 7 AP, 3 damage. I mean, you're hitting
It's
on
a big
fours.
snail.
Yeah, you're hitting on fours, but god damn if you hit. Jesus.
Yep. Listen, you only have two, and every now and then you're gonna sneak that 6 in the wound, get the devastating wounds, and just put 3 mortals on someone.
Yeah.
He's
And AP
120
-4.
points.
Not bad. 120 is what I would expect him to be, especially if he's leading Beast of Nurgle.
Beast of Nurgle, we're going to see shortly. There's 75 points for one, 150 for two. Beast of Nurgle, as we're going to see, have a rule that if they're not dead, they just heal back up. I really like this kind of Beast of Nurgle unit.
Yeah.
Beast of Nurgle are a great countercharge unit. Getting into the area terrain, making it shadow, knowing that it's shadow from then on out, doesn't matter what your opponent does. That means that's something extra your opponent has to worry about. Anytime they have to worry, you're in better shape. And his attacks are actually pretty good. You're not going to get necessarily tons out of it, but his attacks I like. So I really do like this guy. And I think especially if running mono Nurgle, you're doing beasts. Even if you're not, I think you might throw in beasts. But if you're doing mono Nurgle, you're going to have a unit of beasts. At least.
Surprised it's only 2 for
When
beasts.
you see them though, when their rule is if they're still alive, heal all wounds at the end of the round, or sorry, the turn. That's why.
Jesus.
Yeah, they've had rules like that before.
Wait, it's not end of turn. It's end of each phase.
Oh, sorry, end of phase. My apologies. Even better.
Ew.
Yes, it's really good.
Shooting, charge,
Yeah,
close combat. Oh,
that's why
Lord
you
have
only get
mercy
2
on
of them,
my
and that's
soul.
why they cost the amount that they do. We're gonna notice they're not necessarily like chewing through everything, but they're really tough to get through.
Jesus Christ. All right, let's scroll up. Sorry, we kind of skipped that.
Yep,
Plague
that's all right.
Bearers.
All right. So Plaguebearers, I had their points. Where are they? There. 145 for 10. So a little bit more expensive than the other pieces, but they're very good. Move 5, no surprise. Toughness 5, no surprise. 5 up invul save. They're 2 wounds, which is big because the basic battle line of all these other demons that we looked at are 1 wound. So these guys are tougher and have an extra wound. Leadership 7, 2 objectives. They have Infected Outbreak. If you control an objective marker at the end of your command phase with this unit, into range of it, it's under your control, even if no models are within range, until your opponent takes it. So they sticky your objectives. That is very big for a unit that has 2 wounds, has the extra toughness. Like I said, that you lead it with the right unit, you can get objective secure 3 on them, so I can take it, maybe get something else to knock that enemy away. They're the only ones here, sticky it, start walking away. You can take the icon or the instrument for better leadership, extra charges, and your basic weapon, Plague Sword. It's 2 attacks, hits on 3s, strength 4, AP -1, 1 damage, but it does have lethal hits. So you're not getting tons of attacks. In a full squad of 10, you're getting 20 attacks on these guys. If you're leading with the right unit, it could be lethal hits on 5s and 6s, or maybe it's sustained hits, so you're getting a little extra. So these guys aren't getting necessarily tons of damage in. Being AP -1 on 1 damage with lethal hits is still nice, though, because at least I can go against something heavy and I don't have to worry as much about the 2 wounds. I'll
Yeah.
still sneak a few in. On 20, I'll still get a couple in there. I mean, these guys, these guys are great. Nurgle's job is to stick around, and these guys can absolutely stick around.
Yeah.
They have Terminator level toughness.
Oh my god, and they become OC3 if you put the guy up.
Yeah.
That's 30 OC on it. Screw you.
Yeah. And if
so great.
if other pieces of my force take you down, I can I've grabbed the objective, it's the end of my command phase, and what's nice, end of my command phase, now I can leave. I can walk away, and it's still mine. So these guys are honestly great. If you are running mono, I think haven't built a mono list for it. I'd be taking probably 2 to maybe 3 units, taking some of those characters in there to really make the unit shine for different purposes. If I'm running mixed, I'm probably still taking at least a unit to hit my back objective, make it mine without spending that CP, march them forward to go sit on another objective somewhere else. Not much else to say. These guys are really good, and you're going to see them.
They're a solid good unit.
Yep. And they and they fit depending on, like I said, what you want. You put the different character in, you're really going to change up what they do. All right. So you are on to Nurglings.
Oh boy, fall from grace. I think. All right, let's see.
All Move swarms 5. Got this though. This happened to every swarm.
The OC0.
Yep.
Well, because I mean, listen, I'll be honest.
It needed to happen.
Fucking deserved. I'm sorry. I hated people who took it was people. I knew people who took min units of these and just stuck them on. Anyway, move 5, toughness 3, 6 up invulnerable, 4 wounds, leadership 8, 0 OC. They are mischief makers. Oh, that okay is cool. While enemy units, excluding monsters and vehicles, are within 6 inches of this unit, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. Okay, that's okay.
They're infiltrators as well.
And they are Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yep,
they are infiltrators. They get 4 attacks with lethal hits, 5 up to hit, strength 2, damage 1. Nothing.
You're looking for lethal hits. You're going to get some auto hits, and nothing else is going to matter.
Are they 20 points? Because if they're not 20 to 30 points, I'm not taking them.
3 bases are 40. It's 40 for every 3 bases, which is cheap.
That is cheap then.
The problem is the toughness 3 with the 4 wounds is it's okay. I mean, for 40 points, I might still take one.
You know what you use them? You know what you use them for? You use them for secondaries. Oh no, I have to put teleport homers on the corners. Well, here are these Nurglings that all of a sudden deep strike into the corner for 40 points. These are secondary. These are not relegated to dealing with your secondaries.
Secondaries,
which is fine.
Screeners. It's a pretty cheap screener. These are pretty sizable bases. As an infiltrator, if I'm worried about what my opponent can do because of their ability to like charge or rush turn 1, I'm going to infiltrate these guys right in the way. Now you either have to shoot them down, which is annoying for you because that's not what you want to spend your shots into, or you're going to have to take them out in the charge first. They serve a very different purpose. I think they do serve a purpose, and they're cheap. So overall, that's fine. Again, if you're running mono, the big thing with demons is if you're running mono, you don't have tons and tons of choices, so you probably are taking them anyway. If I'm running a mixture, this is sort of the first swarm we've seen, so still not a bad option if you want something to help screen for a little bit. Or if you just happen to have points left over. I've built lists where I have 40, 50 points left over. I don't know what to do with it. I can throw in some Nurglings. Maybe they'll do me something cool. And the -1 to hit is useful. You know, it's like I said, 6 inches. Just keep them near the thing that you want to protect. But anything else for those guys? No.
Kind of easy to go through, yeah.
Yeah. When we play some games with this stuff and list build, that'll do a little bit with it as well.
I really think so. I honestly, if you're list building with Nurgle, and I'll take Nurgle, I would take 2 units of these. I have points. Take 2 units of these, and they are literally my set. Oh, I pulled cleanse. They're going to deep strike at an objective and uncleanse it. Oh, I pulled engage at all fronts. Boom. These are my engage at all fronts.
Yeah.
These are absolutely my tactical secondary objective creators. And what are you going to do? Shoot them? They're 40 points. Who cares? They died.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, they're battle shock. Too bad. They're already OC0. I don't care.
Yeah. You're gonna potentially force your opponent to engage or do something with them.
Exactly.
And if you're worried about if you have to do something about my 40-point unit, then I'm currently winning that particular battle.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Let's talk about these beasts of Nurgle.
The shame is that they're mono pose. That is the only thing I don't like about these models.
Yeah. Well, they're old too, aren't they?
Not really. They came out
newer?
with they're newer. They came out when did that stupid plague tree come out? Like 2 years ago? Well, 2 years isn't new, but
newer than what they were, yes.
No, these guys are new. They look awesome, but I think there's only like actually, I think it's only 1 model per. Hold on, Games Workshop.
All right, so you take a look while I talk about this. So they're move 6. They are toughness 9. So they're one of the toughest things we've seen outside of a greater demon. They have a 5 up invul, 7 wounds, 7 leadership, and their objective 2, which is actually pretty big. I mean, they're only 1 or 2 models, but that's actually pretty good. They have deadly demise 1. And grotesque regeneration. At the end of every phase, if the model has lost wounds, but it's not destroyed, regain all your wounds. You have to chew through 7 wounds at toughness 9. Otherwise, you've done no good. For their putrid appendages, their melee weapon, 6 attacks, hit on 4s. It is devastating wounds, hits on 4, strength 6, AP -1, 2 damage. You're not taking the... Again, Nurgle, in a lot of ways, the goal isn't destruction. The goal is survive and win and whittle. This is a unit that's very good at whittling. Because if your opponent can't do a lot of wounds... So, you don't want to go into the things that do like flat, or D6 plus 2 damage. Like, no. But if you're going into something lighter, they're going to really struggle to take down any of them. And devastating wounds, I'm going to get some through. I'm going to start mortal wounding out some of your people there.
So real quick, I said there's two models for it. The one is the one you see in the card, and then check your Discord real quick. Okay. It's horrifying. Absolutely horrifying.
Why is it horrifying? Because it looks bad?
Look at the face. No, horrifying and good. Yeah.
Ooh, that is
hard.
I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like it's having fun. That's a lot of teeth on that tongue. And one of his organs looks like a steak.
It's horrifying. The leakage on the bottom right hand side. This is a horrifying. I love it. Absolutely horrifying.
It reminds me of I won't be able to think of the movie where it's like a skeleton with eyeballs and stuff like that. It's on like posters and all. I've seen stuff like that before. That's kind of what it looks like to me. But a unit of these guys with Horticulous grabbing the terrain, infecting terrain, having a very hard time of removing them, I think is actually really cool. I think they can do you a lot of good. And again, deep strike. I can deep strike into the terrain with him. Not that turn, but the following turn, grab it up, start moving through. I think you have a lot of options here you can do with these guys. And 7 wounds of toughness 9 is a thing. That can be very tough to chew through depending on what you stick them into. But it's good they don't let you take giant units of those. That would be way too much. All right, you, sir, on to
the plague drones. Another model that really interested me and started Nurgle, by the way.
Yep.
I actually love the way these guys
look. These guys, they're really cool.
I will say they are fucking pain in the ass to put like near each other. Like when I'm playing with my bloodthirsters, their wings get in the way all the time. I can only imagine what these guys are like. I've
you
seen...
play Conquest, sir. There's no room to speak about the difficulty of these models.
You know what? You point taken.
Yep.
So plague drones, 10-inch move. They're slower than normal wing dudes. I love it.
That's fast as hell for this army, though.
I know, but toughness 8. Ew, Jesus Christ! Talk about a cavalry thickness. 5 up invulnerable save, 5 wounds. Oh, that's so good. Okay, really quick, slight side note. 5 wounds is absolutely amazing. With 2 damage and 3 damage being so prevalent in some armies, 2 damage means you still need 3 of them to take him down. 3 damage is not enough. 4 damage is not enough. And if you have D6 plus 1, you still need to roll a 4 on it. It's still 50-50. 5 wounds is such an annoying number. And the only reason I know this is because back last edition, Custodes Bikes used to have 5 wounds. And it's such an annoying number to hit. Anyway, moving on. I just wanted to point out how annoying. Seeing that brings either a salty smile or a happy smile to my face. Leadership 7, 2 OC, which is good. Death's Heads. Right? Death's Heads, yes. In the shooting phase, after this unit has shot, select one enemy unit hit by 1 or more of those attacks until the end of the turn. Each time a friendly Nurgle unit makes an attack, that target can re-roll the wound roll.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That was a very unpleasant sound.
Just like Nurgle.
Okay, that's fitting.
I had it in the tank. Oh my God, re-roll wounds. And wait, is it just melee or is it One or more attacks at
In
the
in
end
your
of the
shooting
turn.
phase until the end of the turn. So you hit him in the shooting phase, and it's
In
until the end
face
of the turn.
until the end of the turn. That is disgust. Oh, I swear, pun not intended. That is disgusting.
I don't believe you. That wasn't intended.
That is disgusting. Whatever. Um, yeah, that's nuts. Shoot them first, and then you just have to hit, right?
Yeah, it's just a hit. Now they're D3 attacks each at 12-inch range, and you're hitting on fours, so you might not get many
But
hits through, but you just got to get one.
you just gotta get one. Who cares?
And blast
Is
for that weapon, so you might get a couple extra dice that you're rolling.
and it is lethal hit, so you will probably roll some sixes. Yeah, no, that's that already. Okay, so I don't care about their melee weapons right now. That already, that ability itself already makes me want to take them. The ability to reroll wounds on either the plague bearers. I don't care about the beast of Nurgle, plague bearers, or the great unclean one is just disgusting. That's great. All right. Um Melee weapons that foul mouth parts. Is it, I guess that's the fly.
Yeah, it's the
So it's
fly.
extra attacks, lethal hits, 2 attacks on fours, strength 5, AP 1, 2 damage. Normal, it's normal mount attacks, and then a plague sword. Lethal hits, 2 attacks, 3, 4, -1, 1 damage. Wait, is that the same as the plague bearers, right?
Yeah, it's a
Yes,
plague
that's
bearer that rides the thing, so it's the plague bearer
exactly.
wielding it.
Got it. Perfect. Yeah, no, absolutely take either two. I would take 2 units of this minimum. If
So
I'm playing mono Nurgle,
they are 3 models for 120 or 6
yeah,
models for 240.
1,000% take 2 of them. Do I take 6? No, no, they're too ungainly at 6. I would take 2 units of 3.
If I'm taking 2
Apps,
units, I'm probably taking 2 threes because I'm
yeah,
taking them I'm taking them for 2 reasons. One, they're one of the fastest things I have, so they can go and get to objective locations or spots that I want to be. And two, that gives me 2 targets for a death's head. So have them shoot at 2 different things.
yep. Do units have to shoot at the same thing, or can I split the shots?
You can split shots, but notice you select one enemy unit that was hit.
Got it. Okay, I was
But
going to
if you have
reread it
2
just again.
units, then you can have 2 different targets go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right. All right. I think that's it. Oh no, we get one more.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we get one more
Do,
thing.
do we take a fortification? Is the question.
Usually no.
Usually no. Let's see exactly.
I mean, we'll talk.
Poor thing.
I'll talk about it, but usually the answer is no. Let me just mark what time we're at for this. Okay, so this is the Feculent Gnarlnaw.
Yep.
It doesn't move. It does have infiltrators, so at least this one we know what to do with it. Toughness 9. It's 4-up save, 9 wounds, leadership 7. It grabs no objectives. Has Shroud of Flies, while friendly Nurgle units, demon units, of course, within 6 inches. They have stealth. That is quite useful. And disease cover. Each time a range attack is allocated to a model, if it's not fully visible because part of it's covered by this, you count as having cover. And the rest is just the idea, it being a fortification. So they talk about essentially what it means for that. How many points is this thing? Is it cheap? 100 points.
No. No. Still no. No.
I wouldn't take it in a mixture ever. In a mono,
I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't. No.
In a mono, again, my goal isn't always to be like the most competitive. Is the most competitive? No, but that's boring.
I still think it's 100 points of a waste because it's 6. Listen, if this was a 12-inch aura, now we're talking. Now we're like, oh, okay.
A 6-inch aura though can be a little bit further than you think because you can also get both stealth and cover from this thing. So I'm not saying it's always the best decision, but for 100 points, if you decide you own this and you painted it and you want to take it, I fully understand. Like I said, the Necron one at like 2 something. No, you crazy if you're taking that stuff. But this one for 100 points, I can see uses. I can see it being a little bit in front of your deployment zone because your stuff is slow, so it's not going to get away from it very fast. And 6-inch aura means you could get 3-4 units easily within that, give them stealth. You don't have a lot of shooting in your mono list, and you're slow. You need every bonus you can get to get there. If I need something else, is it the first thing I cut? Probably. But if you own this and you want it in there, I can see it. Again, if you're trying to be ultra competitive, no. But ultra competitive's boring.
Boring. But also, I don't know, 100 points. To me, that's two Nurgling squads.
Yeah, but they're serving a different
Two fun
purpose.
boys.
Those Nurgling squads will be maybe grab me some objectives, stuff like that. This thing is just making sure the rest of my army survives better. Because realistically with Nurgle, if you position this thing right, you're going to have multiple units within for most of the game because of how slow or trying to grab the objectives or the right points. Usually a center objective is usually pretty well to 14 or so inches from your field objective. So if you put this right in the middle, if you push forward a little bit from your objective and through to their objective, that you can have this bubble the whole way. That could be several turns of stealth. So again, not saying it's great, but I don't mind it. I don't hate it like I do some of the other fortifications. I really don't. All right, that ends Nurgle. So why don't we... Any quick thoughts on Nurgle before we move on?
No. Very straightforward. These have been very good and straightforward, which, again, I like.
Yeah.
I really like how they did the Demons.
Easier.
I really like how they did the Demons this edition. I liked how they did last edition, too. All right. Who's next? Oh, yes. Shalaxi. All right. I do love this model, sadly. I don't know what.
Why are you sad that you like a model?
No, so, okay. Because it is, I said I don't like gaudy and ornate, but I kind of like this. Also, there's a reason why. Wait, is it Shalaxi that has the cape, or is it the normal keeper that has the cape?
Why do you ask questions that I don't know the answers to? I'll tell my head I'm not sure.
Oh, Shalaxi doesn't. So I'm looking at it now. So she has like a cape, but not the cape that I'm liking. Keeper Secrets is what I'm thinking. So when I talk about Keeper Secrets, there's a reason why. I'll talk. You know Diablo? You've seen like the Diablo
I do
trailer,
know.
right?
I do know the Diablos.
The Diablos. Have you seen the trailer with Lilith when she like spawns?
Everyone watched.
She has like the flesh. So the reason I love the Keeper Secrets, it's not Shalaxi, it's Keeper Secrets, is because that cloak that it has,
it is appropriate.
The cloak that it has. I saw someone paint it like the veiny blood clape that Lilith has in the trailer, and it was beautiful. It was hard to say how beautiful it is. But anyway, sorry, that's enough. That's Keeper of Secrets. That's later. So Shalaxi, Miss It Shalaxi is move 14, so it's a fast boy. That's faster than the Bloodthirster.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Slaanesh is fast. That's the whole shtick.
Toughness 10, so it is the weakest though. You got a 4
That's also true. Always for their stuff.
20 wounds, so it's the same as Scarbrand named. Leadership 6, OC 5, so that's all the same. They'll itemize D6. It does have Deep Strike as per normal, so we're going to ignore it. Feel No Pain 5 up. That's pretty neat.
I hope so.
It does have that's a pretty neat, a native Feel No Pain too. So that automatically is already like, bringing this one. So it has the Cloak of Constriction. At the start of the fight phase, select one enemy unit with engagement range of the model until the end of the phase. Subtract 1 from the attacks, characteristics of melee weapons equipped from that unit. Okay. Doesn't work against Trajan, but works against everyone else. I like that. Definitely if you have like a 3 or does it add up? 5 Berserkers have what? They have 6 attacks each, so that's only minus 5 attacks.
No, that is quite big. You're looking at that in terms of survivability. Removing one from the characteristic of everyone in there really adds to your survivability.
I'm thinking like, okay, who are your main melee monsters? But if you have Terminators, that really hurts because they only hit on 4s. Anyway, Monarch of the Hunt. Each time this model declares a charge against a monster, vehicle, or character unit. There it is. I don't care what the rest says. Character unit. I'll come back to that in a second. You can reroll the charge roll each time the model makes a melee attack, monster, vehicle, or character unit. You can reroll the hit roll, wound roll, and damage roll. Okay, just stop. Okay, so for those who don't know why I'm going to be disgusted right now.
Okay.
So GW made a ruling on this because people were like, okay, character unit. Does that only mean if it's attacking the character or the unit? And GW did, and the developer notes though said if there is a character in the unit, it becomes a character unit, right?
Okay.
And they were actually referencing the Alaris from Custodians because Alaris get rerolls to wounds when they target a character unit, right?
Okay.
So this means that if this character is if this model is charging a character unit, not only does it reroll charges, but whatever that unit is with a character in it, it rerolls hits, wounds, and damage rolls. So you can have literally a commissar in your unit. Doesn't matter. Reroll hits, reroll wounds, reroll damage.
Yep.
That is. Oh.
And
The monsters and vehicles is great, but the character throws it over the edge.
yeah. Now we're also gonna see that this model is one of the few spots we've seen ever that has precision in this army.
Yeah.
So you can then get into the character unit and make sure you take them down. If they're the main concern, because the rest of your unit isn't that good, you can make sure they're the ones who go down quickly and put all your little other attacks into everyone else.
Oh yeah. So got a couple of ranged weapons. Do they get both? Yes. So you have the Lash of Slaanesh, which is assault, range 12, 6 attacks, hits on 2, strength 6, AP -1, damage 2. So it's basically the Bloodthirster Lash with an extra AP. Okay. You have the Pavane of Slaanesh. This is a psychic power, so you can do it focused or normal. The only difference is that the normal has devastating wounds and is also psychic, and the other one is when you really focus it becomes hazardous, but you also get sustained hits 3.
Yes.
Ooh. They're both D6 attacks, both hit on 2s, both strength 9. Both damage D3, but it becomes AP -1, AP -2 if you go hazardous.
You got 20 wounds, go hazardous.
Yeah, go hazardous. And sustained hits 3. Ugh. So if you roll let's say 4 hits, 5 hits, and you roll let's say 2 6s, get lucky, it's an extra 6 hits. Ugh.
Yeah.
That's good.
You have a shot of getting a couple extras, which is good. Go ahead.
No, that was it. Melee weapons. So you have Soul Piercer. This is the really cool spear. It's got precision on it. 6 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 14, AP -3, D6 +2. Rerolling hits, rerolling wounds, rerolling damage. That already is that's.
Yeah, you're throwing this at those heavy targets that you've struggled outside of Khorne that you struggled against.
Yeah. That is nuts. So fun side fact. Oh, snapping claws, by the way. You also get snapping claws. You have devastating wounds, extra attack. These are extra attacks. So it's 4 extra attacks, hitting on 2, strength 6, AP 2, straight damage 3. This will just mulch. So what's funny is you don't toss this at like a 20-man or a 30-man unit.
No.
Because it doesn't have sweep.
No,
you don't toss this at like a Terminator unit. Oh, there's a 10-man Terminator unit? Yeah. What's weird is precision works like 30K, where technically you have to slow down and slow roll the dice.
Yeah.
But you could just fast roll and say, oh, these attacks are hitting him, and if he dies, then it goes to him, so on and so forth. But yeah, no, that is absolute insanity. So my side fact that I was going to point out was when I dropped my knight, because the problem was the knight gets shot up immediately because it doesn't get protected. I had 2 choices. I can continue Khorne and bring 2 demon princes, or I can print Lilith, because there's a really cool STL of Lilith with like 4 female Diablo from like Diablo 3. When the hell did Diablo go girl?
Was it Diablo 3? Did it go what? You mean the current one? 4.
No. When did Diablo have a female form? Was that Diablo 3, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So they have a really cool STL of Diablo with like 4 arms, right? And a spear, like in the game. So I was going to print that and use that as Shalaxi. But I just went with the 2 demon princes instead because it's, all Khorne all the time.
Right, you can still change your mind.
But if I had a choice, I'd probably drop the demon princes in my kaiju list and absolutely take Shalaxi.
Yeah.
This
400 points.
Which is exactly, I need 415 to make 2,000. So I would be 19,
Then you're under by a little bit. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
This model is something because one thing I struggle. Like I have sweep attacks, so I'm great with dealing. But like, let's say there's like a big beefy unit of Deathwing, those guys are kind of hard to clear through, and so you just send Shalaxi at them. Who cares?
Yeah. No,
and feel no pain.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
And what's
Yeah.
nice, that's why you're also less worried about Hazardous, because Hazardous does mortal wounds to you. You have Feel No Pain.
Yeah. This
You
is
might even
such
save
a good
some of those.
model. Such a good model. And very well, so again, pun on attempt, very well shaped like sniper model here.
Hmm.
Like well edged, if you will. Like it has a role and it does it well.
Yes. Yeah. You send this at monsters, vehicles, or units with characters in them, and this is a great way to get through them because you're also getting to reroll everything. So even if you want to just fish for those devastating wounds on the other ones, you can just fish. If that's the real concern, because AP -2, they're a little tough to get through, fish for mortals.
Exactly.
So no, it is an absolutely great model.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you're running Slaanesh, you are throwing this in there for sure. If you're not running
1000%.
Slaanesh, you still might want to throw it in
What's
because
the
it's giving you what you
enhancement
don't have.
for Slaanesh again? Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna. Because I
Yeah.
know we're gonna go to the Keeper's Secrets next, right?
Yes.
So to remind the listeners, the enhancement
I don't
is
remember what it is.
Soul Stealer. Each time the bearer destroys enemy
That's it.
models, roll the d6, adding 1 to the result of the Shadow of Chaos. So on a 4 up, you regain a lost wound. On a 3 up, you regain a lost wound.
Yes.
All right.
Obviously, Syll'esske can't take it, but Keeper Secrets
Oh
can.
my god, could you imagine?
Well, that's the. But they make the characters knowing they can't. That's why.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Keeper Secrets. So move 14. Again, we're gonna. Slaanesh is very fast, but toughness is usually lower than what you would see for other things of equivalent size. For the Keeper points was, where are the Keeper Secrets 330. It's also quite expensive. Toughness 10, has a 4-up invul, 18 wounds, leadership 6 with that 5 objectives. Has a Demon Lord of Slaanesh aura. While you got these friendly Slaanesh demon units that are within 6 inches, improve the armor pen and their attacks by other melee attacks, I should say, by 1. We've seen a lot of the AP around being like 1s. That's pretty common in the game. 2s is kind of nice when you can get to it. So within 6, getting that extra AP is huge. Mesmerizing Form. For each time an attack targets this model, subtract 1 from the hit roll. So it's 1 harder to hit any time that someone's attacking it. It essentially has constant stealth. War Gear, it gains 5 up Feel No Pain. Makes sense. So that's a big thing in Slaanesh, is Feel No Pain sort of stuff. And it degrades. A lot of these big things degrade. For what it has. So, taking a quick look. It can be equipped with... So it could get a Living Whip if you want an assault weapon. Range 12, 6 attacks. 2s, 6 strength. AP -1, 2 damage. Are the other ones melee? Yeah, the other 2 are melee. So if you want shooting, you can do that. Otherwise, its ranged weapon is Phasmagoria. It's Witchfire. Devastating wounds either way. There's a hazardous form. Hazardous gets you 3 more attacks. So instead of 6 attacks, 9 attacks. Always hits on 2. Always strength 6. Always AP -2. Always 1 damage. Again, if you want the extra attacks, going to the hazardous, going to the focus isn't bad. You also have Feel No Pain, so you have a chance to save some of those if you happen to roll that one. For its melee weapons, so it has the Snapping Claws, devastating wounds, extra attacks. There's 4 of them. Hits on 2, strength 6, AP -2, flat 3 damage. It has the Wilt Stealer Sword, because yeah, that's something it always has. 6 attacks. Again, hits on 2, strength 8 this time at the -2, 3 damage. And one of the other options you have, the other one, yeah. Oh, sorry. I should say the Shining Aegis is one of the options you have. So you could take it for 5 of Feel No Pain. I think you do. So then you probably don't take that Living Whip. The other option is the
Yeah, I was gonna
Ritual
say you
Knife.
replace with what?
You either take Shining Aegis, Living Whip, or Ritual Knife. The Ritual Knife, it's 3 attacks on 2, strength 6, AP -2, 2 damage. I want the Feel No
No,
Pain.
you take the Shining Aegis.
Yeah,
You take
I
the
want
5 of Feel No Pain.
survivability.
Yeah, you take the 5 up. Sorry.
Yeah, the model's 330 points. I need to live.
Yeah.
And that's going to help me live. That's 100% worth it. So, other than that, I mean, both of them are tough because you're talking like over 700 points. I would probably take Shalaxi if I can afford it. If for some reason I can't afford it or I don't want a named character, then Keeper Secrets is good, especially Keeper Secrets with that upgrade. So that way it has chances to get its wounds back and feel no pain. It's going to be very, very tough to shift. But overall, a good thing. All right. What are we on to now? The Infernal Enrapturess, who's playing a harp made of organs. So, why don't you take this fancy lady here? Lady-ish.
Yeah. Infernal. Oh god, this model is so good too.
It's a good model.
A lot of the demon models, man. They went all out on these guys. So for those who don't know, the Infernal Enrapturess has like a dude, and she's playing literally. Is it his skin or is it his rib cage?
Well, you can't play rib. She's not playing it like a xylophone.
Oh, true. It is. She is playing like string instruments. So yeah, skin. So such a good. Anyway. So Infernal Enrapturess, movement 9. she lugs that harp real quick. Toughness 3, 5 up in bowl, 3 wounds, leadership 7, OC 1. He's a leader. You could put her probably with Daemonettes. Yep. All right. So harmonic alignment. While this model is leading a unit in your command, you can return D3 destroyed bodyguard models to the unit. Not bad. The command. Oh, it's in your command phase. Damn. I thought it was in a command phase.
No. Okay. It's a nice to have, but
yeah, that was
your toughness 3.
Yeah, you're gonna get blown out by bolters. Discordant disruption. While an enemy psyker unit is within 12 inches of this model, psychic weapons equipped with that model has hazardous. Less again. So okay. I'll get to the abilities. Let me look at the range weapons. I just want to check some. So the range weapons, you could either do a cacophonous melody or a euphonic blast. They're both assault. Cacophonous melody is 18 inches, 6 attacks, 3 up to hit, 6 AP 0, damage 1. Yeah. And then the euphonic blast.
She's 65 points. She's cheap.
Single shots, hits on 3, strength 12.
Yeah.
AP minus 3, D6 plus 1. So kind of a las cannon.
Yeah, she essentially has a las cannon.
And then Ravenous Claws with Devastating Wounds. Oh, is Devastating Wounds going to be like their special ability? Give me a second. Let me just scroll down to the. Oh my God, there's so many.
There's a lot of
Devastating.
Things.
Yeah, Devastating Wounds seems to be their like big thing. Yeah. Oh, so that's okay. 6 on the wound are mortals. Okay, that makes me a little happier, but still, 5 attacks, hits on 2, strength 4, AP minus 1, 1 damage. Okay, so yeah, this is what I was gonna say. She's cool, but
go ahead.
With her only really affecting psychers, you kind of have to know the armor you're playing before you choose her. But then at that point, it's list tailoring. But remember, if you are lister, like if you know the list you're going against and you take her, remember if there's a psycher in that unit, that whole unit is considered a psycher. So that's really, really great. And harmonic alignments, I don't know. Are they at least a squad of 20 or are they a squad of 10? Let me see here.
I don't think they do 20s for any of these.
Yeah.
They removed 20s almost entirely from the game.
Which sucks because I kind of like squads of 20 demons.
Everything's 10 now.
Okay. She's cool. The model's cool. I probably wouldn't take her in a list.
No.
And that's me being like kind of nice. She's cool. Don't get me wrong. And the ability is really awesome. But like,
returning
it's the psychic ability.
Yeah. Hurting psychic weapons, making them hazardous. Nice if you happen to see a bunch of that. If you don't, does you no good. Their harmonic alignment, getting D3 back is fine. But if I really want to take out a unit of Daemonettes, they're gone. They're toughness 3 models. Like you can destroy them if you want. The only reason they might be around is because I'm not fighting them. Heartstring Lyre, the Euphoric Blast, essentially last cannon. Nice to have a 24-inch last cannon in the list. I don't know if I upgrade my Daemonettes for 65 points to get one last cannon.
It's like I said, look, it's a cool model. If you take it, it's not going to hurt you. It's still a good model, but just realize that like her abilities, maybe her D3 models to a unit will work if they don't blow the unit up in like one turn. But that aura, unless you're playing psychers, like if you're playing Necrons, yay. Like this kind of sucks.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot, but even that it's just psychic weapons. There's a lot of things, and If I'm
Necrons have
out of
psychic
range,
weapons?
nothing happens.
Do Necrons have psychic weapons?
No, of course not.
Exactly.
There
Neither
might
neither,
be maybe one of the things technically they
so
write as a psychic now. I don't know, but in
oh,
general, no.
so
But there's a
neither
lot of
do
armies
Imperial
that don't.
Knights,
Even if I have a psyker,
Custodes.
just don't
Yeah,
be next to her.
exactly. It's just
It's not board wide.
so okay. I will say this is kind of the first time I'm unimpressed with the model. I'm very surprised. That's
Yeah,
not bad though. Out of what 85 pages, this is the first time we're like meh.
yeah.
Because we've been
There's a few others I've
not
been a
counting the
little
fortifications.
lackluster on, but
Well,
this is
not
one I
including
think
the
I would actively not take.
fortifications.
Yes.
Not including the fortifications.
Yeah,
This
no,
is very
I hear you.
lackluster for me.
Yeah.
Maybe the next one. Oh, is the next one the oh it
Yeah, next one's
is.
the mask. All
Yes.
right, so
Okay,
this is
go
the
ahead,
epic
Dave.
hero, the mask. Since it's okay, 105 points because they put the word the to start. So move 9, toughness 3. That's what we see for Slaanesh. Not very tough. 7-up save. What obviously 4-up invul in this case. 4 wounds. Grabs 1 objective. It is a fights first, which is nice, and it is a lone operative. So as the Eternal Dance, at the start of the fights of phase, select one enemy within 6 inches, and until that phase, so you're selecting one until that. Each time a friendly Slaanesh demon model makes a melee attack that targets an enemy unit, add 1 to the wound roll. Each time a model in the enemy unit makes a melee attack, subtract 1 from the wound roll. So you'll wound 1 easier, they'll wound 1 more difficult. And Dizzying Acrobatics, you can declare a charge when you advance or fall back.
So
Go ahead.
here's the fun part. I was just gonna say Dazzling Acrobatics is fun, right? The Eternal Dance is so damn good.
Yes. Yeah.
So
1
damn
easier to
good.
wound is very good because you don't tend to have a lot of high strength for what you would think of as your typical units here. And 1 harder to be wounded is big because a lot of your guys are toughness 3. Like a lot of your rank and file. Or even if they're not toughness 3, a lot of your rank and file are that lower level of toughness, whatever that number may be. It's got serrated claws. So devastating wounds, 6 attacks on 2s, strength 4, AP -1, 2 damage. Not a bad profile for when you fight first. You don't want this model necessarily in combat that much because it's toughness 3 with 4 wounds. But if you happen to get in, it at least is going to swing first, and that means they have to dedicate something in there rather than like, a lone space marine or 2 kind of thing. And lone operative is nice as well, so it's far away, you just can't shoot it, which is really going to help when you're toughness 3 on 4 wounds. I would still greatly worry about someone getting close enough and just punking this model, though. That is still an absolute concern, because if I get within 12 and I start shooting you,
Yeah.
you're gone.
Yeah, pretty much.
But the bonuses are nice. You'd have to play very carefully with this and really know what you're doing, because I think otherwise there's a really good chance that you're about to lose 100 points somewhere.
Yeah.
But all right. Hey, through no fault of my own, you get to attempt to pronounce the next thing.
Oh, it's Syll'esske.
Syll'esske? Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, Syll'esske.
I thought it would be
This
more
one
complicated than that.
the only reason I know it's Syll'esske is because again, this is another model that I really, really liked because it was super unique. Because if I'm not mistaken, these are 2 demon princes that fell in love, or a demon herald. Oh, give me a second. Strange alliance with demon herald, Syl, and demon prince. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
she's
a
walking
demon,
on Demon Prince.
Yeah, it's a herald and a prince who fell in love with each other, which is pretty cool.
Oh,
Well,
star-crossed
love.
lovers.
Yeah, love in a Slaanesh sense. Take that as you will.
That's the strongest
So,
form of love out there.
yeah, pretty much. So toughness 6, which is
That's high
pretty
toughness for
much,
this.
yeah, pretty much high. The tough, 4-up and vulnerable say, oh wow, hold on, 4-up?
Yeah, the last character
Oh,
did
okay.
too.
Oh, okay, so they're pretty beefy. 9 wounds, leadership 6, OC 2. Leader, what do they lead? Daemonettes. Okay, shocking, I know. While this model is leading a unit, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, a successful unmodified wound of 5-up scores a critical wound. Okay.
And they cause devastating wounds naturally, so that's pretty big.
That's pretty huge. Yeah. That ability alone makes me want to take it. But he's got a second one. or she or it. The first time
There's two
this
of them.
model is destroyed, yeah. The first time this model is destroyed, roll 1d6 at the end of the phase. On a 2-up, set this model back up on the battlefield as close as possible to where it was destroyed and not within danger range of the enemy with its full wounds remaining. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. It's got the dreadnought I come back.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Please tell me this model is like 140 points.
It is
I'll take
exactly
it.
140 points.
Oh my god, wow, that was good. I take this model immediately. Take this model. Anyway, range weapons. You could choose. So first of all, you have a scourging whip. I'll do that one before you choose. Scourging whip is an assault weapon, 9 inches, 6 attacks, hits on 3s, strength 4, AP 1 damage. It's a bolter. Ranged weapons, though, you can choose between the psychic power of hazardous or not hazardous, as always. So the difference is, let me see here. They both have devastating, ignores cover, psychic torrent.
It's the number of attacks.
It's going to be the number of attacks. So yeah, you can upgrade it from D6 attacks to 2d6 attacks. And other than that, they're both strength 6, both AP 1, both 1 damage. But it is torrent, so you auto hit. The melee weapons, the Daemon Prince has to have a 3 damage weapon. I'm hoping. Let's see here. 6 attacks at strength 7 AP 2 3 damage. Yep. So he literally has a Daemon Prince axe and the Scourging Whip. So you get extra 6 attacks at 4, 1, -1, and 1, and you hit on 2s. I mean, solid character for 140.
Yes.
Absolutely take.
Yeah.
You're
leading a unit of Daemonettes. You're getting them to essentially do devastating wounds on a 5-up, which is really big. Your ranged weapon is actually pretty decent if you hazardous it, because you can come back later. You can actually get a good amount of shots. You can actually put some light damage on people, and on a 2-up, you come back. At that point, you'll be on your own, but even on your own, you could still get some stuff through with that axe. But, all right, we're back to the models we like. I'm feeling more decisive so far in this one of who I want to lead, say, my Daemonette units. Where the last one, there were so many options, which is good. This one, I'm taking Daemonettes. I want this model in there.
I mean, we have probably still a million more. Let me say 1, 2, 3. So 3 more HQs. Jesus. Yeah. I thought Nurgle was long, but Slaanesh is a big one. Damn.
Yeah, Slaanesh is quite a while, but
all right. Let's do this. Oh, this is a cool one too. I like this model a lot. Yeah. Mostly because again, someone painted. People are crazy. So this is a small model. This is a contorted epitome. It's got like a mirror. It's supposed to be like a mirror, essentially a mirror.
Yeah.
And someone actually painted like an actual mural on it, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Hey, some people got skills.
People skills, man. Yeah. So yes, it's a leader. Daemonettes again. Movement 9, toughness 6, 8 wounds.
Wait, didn't you do the last thing? It was mine. Get
out
out
of here. Did I do the last thing? I did. Oh my god. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Look on this mirror right here. Check yourself. So this contorted epitome. Move 9, toughness 6, 5-up save, but 4-up invul for this. 8 wounds. Leadership 7. That's fine. Grabbing 2 objectives for you. Like I said, leads Daemonettes again, has Swallow Energy. While this model is leading a unit, they have Feel No Pain 4-up against mortal wounds and psychic attacks. Useful great under the circumstances where it occurs. Every other time, does you no good. So it is nice, but I'm again, that's if you don't know what you're fighting, it may do you very little. 85 points is what I should say. So, okay, let's see the other ability. Horrible Fascination. At the start of your opponent's shooting phase, 1 Psyker model from your army with this ability can use it. If it does, you pick an enemy unit within 12 inches invisible to the Psyker model and roll d6. On a 1, the Psyker model suffers d3 mortal wounds, 2 to 5, until the end of the phase. Each time a model in that enemy unit makes an attack, it's -1 on the hit, and on a 6, they're not allowed to shoot.
Psychers though.
Notice it's your Psyker into their unit. They do not have to be a Psyker.
Okay, I was misreading it.
Yeah.
I was misreading it. Okay.
Yeah, this model is a Psyker. Horrible Fascination has to be a model that has this ability and is a psyker. Obviously, it has both. But
I
if you roll a 1, you're going to take D3 mortals yourself.
honestly, I still like it.
Oh, yeah. No,
Only
that's
because,
good.
yeah, the mortal wound part is, I don't care about the psychic attacks. 4 mortal wound against mortal wounds is great, even though you'll probably die to bolters. Some people do mortal wounds, and boom, now you got a 4 up. Um, and yeah, being able to do D3 mortal wounds and then
No,
charge and
D3
then
mortal wounds is to yourself. If you roll a 1,
oh,
that
sorry,
psyker,
yeah.
you take D3 mortals. Otherwise,
Ah,
minus
that's
1
what
to
it
hit on
is.
2 to 5. On a 6, they're not allowed to fight.
The
They're not allowed to
shooting.
shoot, I should say. My apologies.
Okay.
Did you change your mind now that you see you're not doing mortal wounds?
Now,
All right.
minus 1 hit is still very powerful. Because there's not a lot of plus 1 hit anymore, or rerolls really.
No.
Um, and and that 1 in 6 chance of just saying screw you.
Yeah. 12 inch, so targeted at the unit that you really don't want shooting at you. Didn't mention its melee attacks. Main thing has Ravenous Claws with Devastating Wounds, 8 on 2s, Strength 4, -1 damage, and you get some extra attacks of D6 hitting on 4s at Strength 5, AP -1, 2 damage. I mean, you're not taking it so much for that profile. You're taking it if you're worried about mortal wounds. You're worried about mortal wounds, though, on a toughness 3 unit. I'm not too... That's a little bit thing. And the Horrible Fascination, quite nice. How much was this one? Was it 65? I'm back and forth on what I think of this. 85.
85. I have to build a list and see. This is one of the ones where it's like, if I have 85 points, 90 points, and nothing else, sure.
Yeah. It has a lot of good things, but we're talking about an army that has some giant expensive models, and then it also only goes in Daemonettes. Well, we have quite a few options of who leads Daemonettes, and you're probably not going to fill your list with like 5 or 6 units of Daemonettes, so you're going to have to really pick and choose. So I'm a little lackluster on this one. It's not that it's bad, but I think there's other potentially better options. All right. You have a Tormentbringer on Exalted
Is it?
Seeker Chariot.
Oh God, I hate this model. No, okay. There's a reason why. This model is so stupid big. Like, I don't know how it fits in between buildings. That, like, let's say you're playing normal games, it's fine, but like during tournament play, I believe it's hold on. It is
It is huge.
oh, it is a mountain. It's not an actual. Okay, so we don't know what mounted is. So my answer depends on what the hell mounted is. Because if mounted is what cavalry was last edition, you can't go through walls. And this thing is stupid large.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Anyway, Tormentbringer on the Exalted Seeker Chariot. 14-inch move, toughness 6, which is surprising. I think it'd be more toughness. 4 up and vulnerable, 12 wounds, leadership 7, OC 3. It's a big screw off chariot.
It really doesn't even massive. Get one AC, one OC for each Daemonette on it. There's 4 of them on it.
1, 2, 3. Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
So, Tormentbringer Aura. While a friendly Slaanesh Legion Demonica unit is within 6 inches of this model, all melee weapons have sustained hits 1. And once per fight phase, this is the Hysterical Frenzy Psychic Power. Once per fight phase, just after an enemy unit selects Slaanesh Legion Demonica unit from your army as a target, one friendly Psyker that is within 6 inches of your Slaanesh unit and has the ability can use it. If it does, until the end of the phase, each time a model in this... Wait, what the... Hold on, I lost...
You're trailing off.
Yeah.
Don't trail off.
It was like a run-on set. So, give me a second. You select this... Each, just at once per fight phase, just after enemy unit selects Slaanesh Legion Demonica units from your army as a target, one friendly Psyker that is within 6 inches of that Slaanesh unit and has this ability can use it. Okay, so if it's within 6 inches of a okay, okay. Jesus. If it does, until the end of the phase, each time a model in that Slaanesh unit is destroyed, roll 1d6 on a 4+. Do not remove it from play. That model can fight after the attacking model unit has finished making its attack and then removed from play.
It gives it 4 up fight on death.
Yes, essentially. Okay.
That's what
Jesus.
that means. The big thing is it's a psychic power, so the model that does this has to be a psyker, but to have Hysterical Frenzy, you're probably going to be a psyker, and this thing is a psyker anyway, so...
Exactly. It's got a bunch of weapons. So it's got Lash of Torment, it's anti-infantry 3+, assault and a pistol. At 6 inches, 6 attacks, 3s to hit, 4 strength. Strength doesn't matter if you're hitting infantry. And damage 1. And melee weapons, it's got the Ravaging Claws, 15 of them though, because there's of course 4 of them on. Wait, that doesn't make sense.
There's 3 Seekers.
Do they each get 5 attacks now?
The Seekers should, yeah. It's 3 Seekers.
Ha! Neat. So yeah, 15 attacks, 3s to hit, 4 strength, -1, 1 damage with devastating wounds. Again, 15 attacks with devastating wounds. That's not bad. And then you get some extra attacks with lethal hits. These are their Lickitongues. At 8 attacks, 4s to hit, 4 strength, and 1 damage. So my problem with this model, besides its size, is the same exact problem I had with the corn version of this.
You hate
which
fun.
is if I can target it, I will shoot it. And this is a shooting edition for now. So if I could target it, I will shoot it to death. But it has a 4-up and vulnerable when it's only toughness 6. So
I mean, here's the other thing though. Your opponent's always going to shoot something. Will you lose at a bunch of games? Sure. But those other games you're going to keep it. You know, it's...
Yeah.
It's 160 points, so it's not really that
only
expensive.
160.
Yeah.
I'll say I thought it was more. Okay.
So this thing is on a giant base, so giving out sustained hits 1 in 6 inches is actually quite big, and especially when you have your Ravaging Claws of 15 attacks, you are going to get some sustained hits on that, so your number of attacks is actually going to be much higher, and Hysterical Frenzy, Fight on Death, is actually very good.
To give people an idea, by the way, how big this stupid thing is, it's on a 120 by 92 oval base. That's the Wraith Knight. It's on a Wraith Knight base.
Yeah. 6-inch on a giant base is pretty nice. I like it. Overall, I think it is quite good.
Am I stupid? So
Maybe.
Look at the card. Wait, hold on.
I'm looking at it.
Look at the card.
Yeah, I'm looking at
I
it.
put Tormentbringer on Games Workshop, and it's a completely different model. Am I stupid?
Not for that, at least.
Oh, is it Bladebringer that I'm confusing it? No. What the? So, yeah, no. There's only...
It's probably a dual kit.
No, but even the other part of the kit doesn't have that many things on it. It doesn't have 3 riders like that. Like, see how it has... I'm not crazy, right? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I
it
see
has the
there
blades
are 3
in the
riders.
back.
I'm just looking
and it
for
has
it
the blades
myself.
in the back. This is literally it.
I didn't even see it on GW's website. Wait, so when you look Tormentbringer, you're not finding it? Is that the problem?
No, I found it, but it's a completely different model. Right?
I'm searching right now.
I'm not crazy, I promise.
Yes. Tormentbringer, Bladebringer.
Yeah.
Also, for its cost, it can't... No, yeah, it can't be this. It's not this model at all. I've seen this model.
I'm looking at their whatchamacallit. It's not on their page either. There's only the secret you know what's funny? That picture is the secret chariot of Slaanesh. So then what the hell is a Tormentbringer? It's not even on their page. What?
I don't know.
Is it an Age of Sigmar model? Oh my god, that would be funny.
They do have something like this. It almost
it,
looks like the
Hedonites of Slaanesh, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Hedonites of Slaanesh. It almost looks like the Altar of Cain.
I'm checking. Not a model. Oh, they're no, not even the Hellflayer. What the hell is that model that they have on the picture? Please,
Must be
listeners.
an old thing they had in the past.
Yeah, please, listeners, find this model for us if you're listening to us, because I have no idea where this model is.
If we pause and went through it, could probably find it somewhere. But
no,
I
checked Age of Sigmar. So I checked Age of Sigmar, Hedonites of Slaanesh.
Oh no, the way they're showing it here, it is. I think it's a Hellflayer.
3 riders.
I think it's a Hellflayer with an extra model in the middle, with a Seeker. That's what it looks like to me in actuality.
Okay.
Yeah.
GW, what are you doing?
All right. Well, what they're doing is taking us to, man, there's so many of these.
I know, another HQ.
Tranceweaver. Oh, man. Why is there so many? All right. Tranceweaver. This one's going to lead more Daemonettes, right?
Yep, pretty much.
Okay. Ooh, went a little too far. There we go. Tranceweaver. For Tranceweaver, how expensive is this thing that looks like a lady? 60 points. Move 9, toughness 3. It has the 5-up invul, 3 wounds. Leadership 7, grabbing one objective point for you. While in a unit, they get fights first. The fact that you have devastating wounds is going to help. You have Symphony of Pain at the end of the movement phase. Your movement phase, I should say. So that's one enemy unit that is battle shocked and within 12 inches. Remember, you -1 in Shadow Chaos for the battle shock, so it's more likely that happens. Until the end of the turn, each time a Slaanesh demon model from your army makes an attack that targets them, you can reroll the hit and you reroll the wound. So this one's actually quite good. Its attack, it just has those ravaging claws. My apologies, before I think I said the Seeker had the claws. The Seekers don't have the claws. It's the Daemonettes. 6 attacks, hit on 2s, strength 4, AP -1, 1 damage with devastating wounds. For 60 points, if someone's going to lead my Daemonettes, I would like this thing leading them.
No, in fact, I'm going to remember how I said Syll'esske? Oh, no, I would still take Syll'esske because that's an epic hero. You take one, and then you take nothing else but Tranceweaver because fight first is the most powerful ability right now in 40k.
Yes.
It literally leads to, I've seen this in tournaments and videos where you'll have a Custodes player versus like a Gene Stealers player, and they will not charge each other. They'll stare at each other because they both have fight first. And neither of them want to give the other opponent the ability to do that.
You ever watch Pee-wee's Playhouse when you were a kid?
No, I never did.
No, of course you didn't. Do you know of the show? Like, you know how it works and everything?
No, I know. I do know the show, yes.
Okay. Do you know, like, his secret word thing?
No.
Okay, so every episode, there was a secret word. And if you said the secret word, all the furniture in the house lost their shit. Like screaming and yelling. Like, it was a good thing. It's like, you said the secret word.
Yes.
Yours should be like Custodes, and we got to see if you can get through an episode without talking about them.
Well, because that's the only fight first I know.
I'm sure there's other things. You could just say it's good. You're allowed to just say it's good. That's all fine. First. And the other ability is really good too, because you can they're battle shocked, and like I said, your army has easier ways to battle shock, reroll hit and wounds. Remember, reroll wounds right now doesn't say you reroll the fails. You reroll the wounds. So if you need it to be mortals because they have a really good armor save, you can just reroll everything that's not 6. Just hunt for mortals. On units that devastating wounds, but that's like their whole trick here. Yeah, I agree. Tranceweaver's great. Take it.
It's so cheap.
Yeah.
65. God.
Well, as we're gonna see, like Daemonettes are a decent unit to give those abilities to, but it's not like they're gonna be carving through like everything. But all right, talk about Daemonettes.
Daemonettes, movement 9, toughness 3, 5-up invulnerable, 1 wound, leadership 7, and 2 OC. They have Swift Talon Slaughter, so each time a mob in this unit makes an attack, you can reroll hit rolls of 1. If the target of that attack is within range of an objective marker, you can reroll the hit roll instead. Great. Love it. That's amazing.
Yep.
Charge them into objectives. The war gear still stays the same. And then you have Slashing Claws. So devastating wounds. So you're looking for those 6s to wound. You have 3 attacks, hitting on 3, strength 4, AP -1, 1 damage. And you know what? That AP -1 is still great.
Yes.
Still a nice little addition to that. But yeah, devastating wounds with 3 attacks. You have 10 of these. That's 30 attacks. Being tossed out, hitting on 3s. You're hitting with 20 of them.
Remember, you're rerolling 1s at least.
I was going to just ignore that for a second. Hitting with 20. So if you reroll 1s, you get 22, if I believe, right?
So
21.
In 30.
5.
Well, yeah. So if you're rolling 30 dice, you should have statistically you'll have 5 1s. You reroll that, you're going to have 2/3 of those go through. So you're going to have about 3 and change more.
Oh, 3 and change. So 23 hits with the reroll hits of 1s. Strength 4, but you're really looking for 6s, honestly.
And certain
So
characters
even
makes it
so,
5s and 6s.
yeah,
And certain other things that they're battle shots, you could get rerolls on all of it.
yeah.
If you took the last model we talked about, a
Such a
Tranceweaver.
dangerous unit.
It's dangerous if you can charge, or if you get the fights first from the Tranceweaver, or if you're getting devastating on like 5s and 6s. They're not dangerous on
Yeah,
their own, but if you put a character in there, now you're really making them talk.
yeah.
They're 140 points for 10. Very standard for this. All right. They're your battle line unit. You're going to take some.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, not much more needs to be said about those.
The next one you'll love.
Fiends. The Fiends are weird look. I'm weird about Slaanesh whether I like it or not.
They're very hit and miss. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I like it, but also it's kind of like a weird like probably won't play it.
There's only one way to enjoy Slaanesh models, and that's as a weird like.
Yes, and it's you know what it is though. I also would not buy it because I don't know how to paint it. That would be actually now that I look at it, it's very much like how I did my corn, where you kind of
You slap red all over
wet.
them.
No, but you wet blend. See how it has the blend on the tail? So I'm looking at the Fiends, right?
Yeah.
You see how it has the white to the purple, then to the black,
Yes.
right? That's how I did my corn. You wet blend and then you dry brush so you could kind of really blend it all together, right? That's why I got like the corn skinned into the horns and stuff like that. So ironically, this might be easy.
Skin's gonna take that method a little bit easier though, because you
Yeah.
have more varied of surfaces. This is essentially a tube out the back, so it's going to be a little bit harder to dry brush and get a good effect on it.
Yeah.
All right, so
Anyway,
Fiends. They are 3 for 150. You're going to take 6 for 300. It's the expensive boys. Oh, sorry. Actually, the Fiends before were the ones with the. There was 3 Fiends. That's why I was 5 attacks because Fiends are 15 attacks because Fiends are 5 attacks each. Move 12, toughness 5. They got a 4 up, 4 wounds, 5 up invul, leadership 7, grabbing 2 objectives each. They have Subphoric Musk. One enemy unit that's not a vehicle or a tank or a Titanic is within 6 inches. Each time a model in that enemy unit makes a melee attack, -1 to hit. And each time a model in that enemy unit makes a desperate escape, subtract 1 from the test. So if you had the desperate escape, which remember, if you battle shock them, all of their escapes are automatically desperate. They will lose models on 1, 2, or 3. They have a barbed tail and dissecting claws, devastating wounds, of course. 5 attacks on 3s, strength 5, AP -2, 2 damage. Fiends are really good. They're one of the tougher things you have because we've seen a lot of toughness 3 things lately. And they get a lot of attacks because you're going to be 15 attacks on that unit.
yeah.
I do feel that they want some support from some of the other things that we've seen. I don't know if they'll quite do enough on their own. So like the Tormentbringer, helping get some other things related to if you're 6 inches and all that kind of stuff. You get a couple other things. And the -1 to hit is really going to help save them.
And they're on a 75 mil oval base. So they're on the Blood Crusher base. That's
Yeah.
not
It's a big
It's
base.
not a bad size. Well, it's big, but it's not like ungainly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take 6 again.
I think you're just paying too much if you're taking 6 is the problem.
Yeah.
300 point. Not that I'm saying they're not worth 300. They could be worth 300. That's 30 attacks. Like I said, there's some ways to get a little bit of bonuses here or there. Like you're going to get devastating wounds in at that level. But you're talking about army where you're already like taking Shalaxis or at least a Keeper Secret. You're already pumping out some real big points. Maybe you're taking some Demon Princes. You're already pumping out some big points. I don't know if you can throw another 300 point unit. It starts getting tough at that level. But all right. We are on to Seekers, or you are on to Seekers.
So Seekers, this is the model I don't like. I'm not sure why. I like the horsey. I mean, not really a horse, but
I would not call that a horse. That
but you know,
is
I do
like
remember
kind
so
of like a
from
seahorse.
fantasy,
Actually, it's kind of like a
going
seahorse.
back, going back in the day, going back to 8th edition fantasy. I hated these things because the tongue would always do more damage than the actual seeker. So annoying. Anyway, movement 4. Man, these guys fly. Movement 14, Toughness 4, 5 up invulnerable, 2 wounds, OC 1, leadership 7. Scout 9 inches. Okay. That's
Yeah, they up there.
not that is a weird number. So usually scout is always half the move or the full move. 9 is such a weird. Is 9 a multiple of 14? It isn't. Is it
No.
even divisible?
No. 14 is 2 and
No.
7.
Yeah. What? Why is it 9? Who did this?
Is that
All right,
Slaanesh's number?
Give me a second. It might be. Korn is 8. Nurgle is 7. Zinch is 6. I think Slaanesh is 9. Okay, that might make sense. All right. Unholy Speed. You can reroll advance and charge rolls made for this unit. They go fast. We know that already. All right. And then weapon-wise, we're looking at two attacks with lethal hits with the tongue, hitting on 4, strength 4, AP, damage 1, AP 0. So you just really want 6 to auto wound. And then they get 3 attacks with their slashing claws with devastating wounds, which is the same as the. All right. How many points are they?
5 for 95 or 10 for 190 then? They're 14 and they're up 9. So if you're worried about trying to take your shadow of chaos and like get it into the middle, turn 1, they have it for you. You're guaranteed to have it
for you. Period.
Depending on where you position, you could have the in your opponent's backfield if you want.
Yeah, exactly. And then they get your corners. They get engaged very well. Very much like these are more effective Nurglings for me.
Yes.
This is more effective Nurglings.
Yeah, I would probably...
If you're playing mono Slaanesh, of course.
Yes. If you're mixing it in, especially for certain gods, I think it's very helpful because they're very fast. That's Scout 9, so they're going to get you to the positions that you need. Okay, yeah, they can reroll. They get +1 charge. Like, they can fight. They're not fighting great, but if you go against the right target, essentially something someone wants to keep in the backfield, they can run around to get to them, or they can screen at least 95 points. I don't mind putting them and getting them in the way, rushing them towards someone who wants to charge through. This is going to make sure they don't get to it. I could see this especially in, say, maybe it's Sacrilege, but maybe a Nurgle list, because all the rest of your stuff is very slow. Now you have a nice fast unit to go and do what you need it to do, even if it's just grab you stuff in the middle. They serve a good purpose.
The next unit's going to annoy the shit out of me, and I know why. Because we just literally talked about this stupid model and why it was different. Let me scroll up. While you read the next model, the next unit, I'm scrolling up. This doesn't exist. I have no idea where this model comes from.
All right, and we are back. If you were watching this, you will see a little bit of a wardrobe change on me. Otherwise, if you're listening, we ended up starting a little bit late yesterday, so I ended up getting a little bit late, and I actually get up in the morning, so I decided that, you know what? We'll finish it up tonight because at that point we still had 7 different things to talk about. So we are picking up from where we left off last night, and we are on to Hellflayers. So, I might have talked about the last one. We think that would be true, but to make sure that Dan lands on Be'lakor, I'm going to take the next thing here then. All right, so in the middle of all this, we have a Hellflayer. So this, when we were looking at one of the other, what was the other crazy one you talked about? That we couldn't find the model for?
Is it the Exalted Herald? No, that's the next one.
No, it was like the
Chariot.
Tormentbringer or Tranceweaver, one of those.
Tormentbringer on Exalted Secret Chariot.
Yeah, I think it's like this model with some alterations and all. That's what it looked like to me. Although now seeing this model, maybe it's something different. But
I have no idea. I have zero. I hope someone in the comments can answer this for us. Because I did spend, it was actually driving me up the wall. So I actually did look yesterday, and it just looks like an extra model. But does it come with an extra model? Do you have to buy a bit? Like
Josh would probably know, but I haven't talked to him since last week.
I'll talk to him on Friday because it will drive me up the wall.
I'll be there on Friday too. I just might be a little late, but I'll be in on Friday. All right, Hellflayer. It is. Actually, I just thought I should also get the points out.
Well, I got you while you talk.
Good.
So the Hellflayer is, while you pull it up probably later, Hellflayer for 1 model is 110, 2 models is 220.
Oh, you can take these in a pair. Nice. Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah. All right.
I don't know why the base is so goddamn big.
Well, yeah, but so you're still allowed to do it. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work well movement-wise, but they'll let you do it. All right, so there we go. There's points for the Hellflayer. Move 14. So again, very fast. Toughness 6. It is a 4-up invul, 7 wound, 7 leadership. Counts for 3 objectives. Cutting down the foe. Each time this unit is selected to fight, you can select one enemy unit with engagement range of it and roll a d6. Adding to the result if it's an infantry unit. On a 2 to 3, they take mortal wounds. Now, I'll read the rest in a second, but keep in mind, this is a to hit or to wound type roll, so ones don't fail. So if you're infantry, you're going to at least get D3 mortals on them. 4 to 5 is 3 mortals. On a 6+, D3 plus 3. So if they're infantry, you actually have pretty good chances of at least getting to the 3 mortals, and 50-50 chance of getting to D3 plus 3. So you could actually put quite a few mortals. And it's just the unit, it's not per model in this case, so... For weapons, gets all of its weapons. It has a Lash of Torment, hurts infantry on a 3. This thing is good for that. It's basically a giant combine. So it makes sense that it's literally rolling over people. It's an assault weapon, and it's a pistol. 6-inch range, 6 attacks, hits on 3, strength 4, gets people on 1 damage, I should say. But auto wounds infantry on 3, so you're not going to get much out of it. But if you're already stuck in combat, because you're going to do that, because you want to hit infantry, this at least has a profile that if I'm wounding on 3s always, I have a chance to get at least a few random wounds on some infantry models. For melee weapons, it has 2 bits of extra attacks, has a bladed axle with 6 attacks, 3, strength 6, -1 AP, 2 damage. So pretty good again. Your target is infantry, so strength 6 at a -1 on 2 flat damage is quite good against infantry. The Seekers themselves can lick you. They have lethal hits. It's the same thing we saw with Seekers before. Hits on 4, strength 4, 1 damage. Nothing too great, but hey, it's extras. And the Claws. So this thing has 3 Daemonettes on it, so it's getting 9 attacks at hitting on 3s, strength 4, 1 damage. Its melee profile is going to work for you in terms of you're just going to have a whole bunch of attacks, and those Seeker's Claws at least do have devastating wounds. When you charge in, if it's infantry, you are absolutely at minimum doing mortals to them. So I think you're leaving your big demons to go against, say, their Terminator blocks or very heavy things. Maybe if you have like a injured Terminator squad, the mortals could get it for you. But otherwise, I see this wanting to slam into potentially their shooting type units, their little bit lighter units, maybe getting the charge on their assault units so they can't get to your spots, or in a support. I think this works really well, as this is not the only thing charging that unit. This charges in, takes a few models down. Maybe its attacks will plink a little bit more off, but it frees it up for one of your more heavy hitters to get in there as well.
Yeah. My only fear with this, besides the base size, because we've talked about that, especially taking 1 or 2 of them, my only fear with this is the same fear I have with Blood Crushers, because Blood Crushers have a very similar ability of doing mortals on the charge.
Yeah.
My only fear is taking models out before you're able to swing. So you do D3 plus 3. Let's say you do the massive 6 mortal wounds, and the person removes 6 models. Theoretically, that can pull you out of the 3.5-inch, 3-inch pile and 1/2-inch engagement range that you need. And now you're just kind of, all you did was 6 wounds. You didn't even do the melee. You know what I mean? So that's my only fear. I mean, it's rare, probably, like it might not happen, but just make sure to play, like for people who play this tactics wise, just realize it can happen. So make sure you like play around that. Because that absolutely happened with my Blood Crushers. That's why.
See, now, I think Blood Crushers have the problem in a worse way, because Blood Crushers oval is forward-facing. This one is wide. Now, you can put a Blood Crusher in sideways, but from your natural movement and just the natural way you're going to do the model, you're not going to be like Tokyo drifting it around. This model is always wide. So you do, remember, in this edition, when you charge someone, you must make base contact if possible. With this one, though, if you roll a decent charge, you should be able to get in such a way where you can be touching at least several models to be able to do that 3-inch and hit quite a few. It is a potential concern, though I will say if they're strung out in such a way where my move See, I get the perfect thing. 6 mortals. I've slammed your unit super far back, 3 inches forward. I'm not there. Your 3 inches is probably not going to get that many people in when you come forward as well. So we'll probably be okay. And then there's the consolidate afterwards. Like we'll be stuck in. But I'm much more interested in the mortals this thing can put out than its melee attacks. Maybe the devastating wounds from the slash and claws. But I agree. And on 14 move, you should be able to get crafty enough to give yourself reasonable charges, because if you need to get a little bit towards the side to charge in to get a better position, you have the sort of move to be able to do that. Would you take 1 or would you take 2? Worrying about
One
movement aside.
still. Oh, moving. Oh, where do I move aside to? Absolutely
Okay.
for 220. Absolutely, but
You don't
looking at
do extra mortals,
GWs.
though.
No, you don't. But the amount of just attack. I mean, goddamn, it's 18 attacks with devastating wounds. That's 8 attacks with lethal hits, and it's 12 attacks that could do 2 damage at AP -1.
Yeah.
You're just going to pun intended, mow down infantry and whatever
You
they
do
charge.
your job. That's what that means.
Yeah.
I agree. If I can fit 220, I think I would take, or 220, is that right? Yeah. If I can fit 220, I would take 2. If I couldn't, I'm still happy with at least 1. And this is my unit that's designed to like finish off their infantry units that I lost battles against. Like I hit your intercessor squad or whatever it is. I kind of bounced off. You got a few guys left, but you killed the rest of mine out. Boom, this hits in, takes the rest down. 2, I think, is a legitimate concern for many infantry units. Again, maybe not Terminators, but that's another story. The mortals, no. Yes, your mortal chances will be good. The rest of it,
it's
not
got
so
really
great.
No AP. Although 18 attacks at devastating wounds.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. The devastating part and the mortals on the way in are what will help you versus Terminators. I wouldn't throw it against like a giant squad, but a squad of 5 against with 2 of these guys. Yeah, I could see it. And you have a 4-up invul save, so you have still decent survivability versus that. And at toughness 6, a lot of their good weapons are still only going to be wounding on 3s, not the 2s where they're getting like everything in.
Yeah.
And you have some other stuff to support with. So I like
it
it
makes
overall.
Sense. It makes sense.
And the model's pretty cool. It's crazy looking. All right. That is going to take you to the Seeker Chariot.
Oh, wait. Is the Seeker Chariot? What is...
There is no picture.
No, Seeker Chariot has 2 whips, just like the Exalted HQ thingy, the Tormentbringer. But
so it's probably just a Seeker Chariot with a different model put on top.
I don't know. Someone needs to answer this. It's going to drive me off the wall. Anyway, Seeker Chariot.
14-inch. So this will be out. This is Tuesday. This will probably be out on Wednesday. That's my goal. Josh will probably listen to it, and then he'll be screaming to himself exactly what it is, and we'll find about that on Friday, because that's what he did the last time.
It's literally
about something we said.
It comes down to
my
guess is it's the Seeker Chariot of Slaanesh, right? And it comes with an extra model if you want to build the Exalted. Yeah. Hi, Ami. I think that's what it is. It's literally a Seeker Chariot. It comes with an extra model. Oh no, it only comes. I'm looking at the for right now. It comes with 2 horses. It comes with 2 horses. What is this model? What is this guy? Oh my God, GW. Like you got me tilted a little bit.
So actually talking about, because I mentioned Josh was telling us about, we talked last time about the blue scribes, because he said he was yelling to himself because the whole idea is the blue scribes hate one another. That's why they're the ones who do the job. They're the only ones that are trusted because they absolutely despise one another. One can read the magic but can't cast. The other one can cast but cannot read.
Oh, that is hilarious.
So that's the idea. They must work together, and they're odd coupling their way through life.
Oh, that is
I don't want to use the word life, but life.
That is great. Yeah. And by the way, I looked at the Tormentbringer. It's the same sprue, so it only comes with 2 horses. So I don't know the HQ. I literally am flummoxed at the HQ why it has 3 horses.
Still good use of the word flummoxed, though. I like that.
That's a good
word. My wife would say, as good SAT word.
It is. All right, Secret Chariot. Secret Chariot, you're looking at, let me see here, 75 or 150 for 2, right? Yeah. 75 or 150 for 2. It's probably, it's exactly like a Hellflayer, just smaller. So it's 14-inch move, toughness 6, save is a 4-up invulnerable. Okay. Slight side note I've noticed, a lot of the Slaanesh has a 4-up invul.
Yeah.
I mean, their fiends don't, and their demonettes don't, but
No, but
their
a lot of their,
chariots,
well, when you
yeah.
look at this, they might not. So they didn't give it the vehicle keyword; they give it the mounted keyword. But it's more of treating itself like some of the heavier style vehicle things.
Ah,
So yeah, getting that 4
interesting.
bimble.
So it's a 4 invul, 7 wounds, 7 leadership, OC3. So instead of having the really cool mortal wound thing that the Hellflayer has, this has. Wait, did I say 7 wounds? I said 7 wounds, right?
Yeah, 7 wounds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you were right about that.
Uh, it has scythed impact. Each time the human makes a charge move until the end of the phase, melee weapons equipped with this model have anti-infantry 4+. Eh.
Well, so the anti-infantry 4+ isn't bad because remember, your slashing claws are
Yeah.
devastating wounds.
And it's,
So
that's
that's
right.
4 up mortals.
That is true. That is true. That is true.
It's only useful if you have an extra rule. This has that extra rule.
Exactly. Okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
That I'm more excited for. So, and it has, by the way, the same range weapons as the Hellflayer. So you have a Lash of Torment. I think it's exactly the same, actually. Just Lashes of Torment.
It's 1 damage. This
One
was
damage
it.
strength, 4
One of them
hits on
is
the 3,
it's
6
one
attacks.
that was 1 damage, but the Seeker tongues. Oh no, it had bladed axle. That was what was the 2 damage weapon.
Yeah,
So it doesn't have the
exactly.
axle anymore.
It doesn't have the axle on it. So it's basically the Secret Chariot without the bladed axle. For 75 points, actually not. Because of that anti-infantry 4+, having those 9 attacks with slashing claws, hitting on 3, strength 4, AP -1, 1 damage, 4 up, 50% mortal wounds. That's, you're looking at 4 to 5 mortal wounds.
Yeah.
Or hell, if you take 2 of these, you're looking at 9 mortal wounds.
So about that, so you have 9 attacks. So let's assume pure normal statistics. You should get 6 hits. Of that, about 3 should be mortals then, because you're getting mortals about 50% of the
Yeah.
time. So 2 of them would be 6, but it could go lower, but you could easily spike to get 7, 8, or 9, or something a little bit higher.
Yeah.
And the tongues having extra attacks and lethal hits is pretty good. And it's every weapon is anti-infantry 4-up. So if you're going against infantry, even your other extra attacks are at least just auto
Exactly.
wounding. They might not be mortals, but at least they're auto wounding.
So they're wounding on 6s on the hits, and they're wounding on the 4s if it's anti-infantry. Yeah, that's great. I like this model. I was less impressed because I didn't understand the anti-infantry.
Yeah,
Much more impressed with the
and cheap.
anti-infantry.
This one
75
is
is
cheap.
cheap. A
Yeah.
lot of this is cheap for Slaanesh.
Slaanesh has speed, decent amount of cheapness because they don't tend to have the toughness, and in many cases the wounds to stick around. Like
The toughness
7 is good, but 7 is still manageable. If you hit this thing with a big gun, some of the big guns can do 7.
Yeah.
And you're for a vehicle-ish style model, I know mounted, but essentially one of these heavier than an infantry model. Toughness 6 is a little light because we know if this was a lot of the other factions, it would be like a toughness 7 sort of thing. This is sitting in like the ballpark range of like land speeder almost kind of stuff. Land speeder might have more toughness. I don't remember their toughness on my head.
I'll see again.
Do you think the reason they're not putting a picture here is because this is what's getting a new model? The model's currently out of stock, and it's the old box.
They're probably just repackaging it all as one. But again, what annoys me.
But why
so again,
wouldn't they
if you
show the
look at
picture?
this, because they already showed the picture for the HQ, which
Do
is
you
the
think that ever
same
matters
exact
to them?
thing.
I don't think that
Not
matters
true.
to them. I think you would see the picture. I think they might be trying to rebox it or do a new one.
What annoys me again is by looking at the wait, is that a stock? Temporarily out of stock yet.
Yeah.
What annoys me is that it only comes with 2 bodies. And when you look at the Tormentbringer picture on the card, it's 3. So maybe that's the new model. Hey, maybe they're like, oh, hold on. Maybe that's the new model. Maybe we're
I
going crazy for no reason.
it's either they forgot to copy or it's going to be something new. They did say you could do as a herald on a secret, essentially secret chariot. I think that's what the Tormentbringer is a herald on top of this thing. Or at least that's the way I would do it.
But there's a third horsey. That's the problem.
Take
Where's
another
that third
seeker, just
horsey
slap
coming
him right in
from?
the middle. Of these 2, if I'm running these, I absolutely take 2. If
Yeah,
I'm running the Hellflayer, I can get by on 1. But
yeah.
this, I want 2 because I can put out a
I want
lot of
to.
mortal wounds.
Oh yeah, this is. Oh my god, charging and they get 18 attacks. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you shouldn't theoretically be too worried about getting charged yourself, because with 14 move, you can play a lot cagier, most likely, than your opponent can. Deep Strikers are another case
I mean,
entirely.
hell, just to remind people, you got 14 move, and if you're in Shadow of the Warp, you can advance and charge. So,
Yes.
like, like
Yeah.
we.
Yeah, you should be able to decide where you're charging or who you're charging a lot more than it's decided for you, which means you can go into the good infantry targets. I really like it. I think it is absolutely a great option. And then we're going to take the same thing and we're going to exalt this bad boy. And we're going to see what happens when this bad boy is so exalted. How many points is it when I make it fancier? What do I do to make it fancier? Do I slap another person on top?
So well, I was gonna say
115.
It has to be. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
what annoys me. But no, exalted. Is it the exalted or is it exalted?
Exalted. It's 115 points.
115. So it's literally right in the middle.
Yeah, it's
75
almost
divided by
directly in the
2
middle,
is
but you can only take
35.
one. So let's see if taking one is worth
Yeah.
it. 14 move again. Still the 6 toughness, still the 4 up invul, it's the 7 leadership, it's 5 objectives this time. The big thing is it's 12 wounds now instead, so it gained 5 wounds. Infernal Engines, plural, of Torment. In the fight phase, after this model is finished making its attacks, if one or more enemy units were destroyed as a result of those attacks, every enemy within 6 inches of this model must take a battle shock test. Let's get into what its attacks do before we talk about if that's good or not. It has the same lash ranged weapon. Cool. It has the slash and claws. So it's claws this time with the devastating wounds. It's 14 of them instead of the 9 that we've been seeing. So it has not quite 2 more, almost 2 more. One of them's missing like the top of the crab claw, I guess, or something. It has exalted Seeker Tongues, better than the other ones, supposedly. Extra attacks, lethal hits. There's 8 of them. Hits on 4, strength 4, 1 damage. So that's actually the same. So it's like the other ones we've seen, except it gets a few more attacks on its 2 profiles that's giving it the attacks. Why would I take this when I could take 2 Seeker Chariots?
I hate to be like that, and I'm not trying to be a metagaming prick, but like, why?
Because it's even not metagaming wise. Even if we say like we're playing for fun, because I try to play for fun. If I play in a tournament, if it doesn't say it's friendly, I avoid it like the plague. That's just because of who I am and what I personally like. When I look at this, the other one feels like a worse choice. Or this one, I should say, my apologies. This one feels like a worse choice, and its ability it has doesn't excite me. And the problem I have with its ability is, all right, if it destroys destroys enemy unit, I can battle shock some people around me. And this is an army that likes to do battle shock, especially if you're in your shadow. Great. The problem is 14 attacks with some devastating wounds on 1 damage. And my Exalted Seeker is getting some extra attacks. I don't feel this has a good shot at destroying units unless they're already very injured. And if they're already very injured, it might be an area where I'm already doing well and kind of cleaning up. So the battle shock is just going to make me win a little more.
If they fail battle shock, then you also get the D3 mortal wounds.
Well, I agree, but it's this model's ability to kill a unit is my problem. If I'm going against a weakened unit, sure, but if I'm going against an average unit, 14 attacks, so we're looking, we're hitting 2/3 of those, so we're getting like 10-ish or so hits on them devastating, so we're getting like 2 mortals, strength 4, maybe, I don't know if it's going to. The Seeker Chariots rule helps it anytime it's working.
Yeah.
This rule only helps if I'm already winning somewhere. Because this thing I don't think is going to be killing stuff out for you.
No.
Now for its points cost is my problem.
Yeah.
I would rather spend the extra for 2 Seekers.
The problem is, I'd rather take 2 Seekers. Sorry.
Yeah. Honestly, even 1 Seeker saved myself the points, and now I can put one of those characters with the Daemonettes, because together that would be about the points cost that this thing would run. I mean, it's fine, especially if you have these ultimate. I really like the normal Seeker Chariots. I think you get more out of them. I think they feel more interesting, and I think Infernal Engines is going to let you down more than it's going to end up exciting you.
All right.
Well, that's all right. We don't have to like everything. All right, so we are out of the units that are declared for a particular god. So now we're going to look at the ones that anyone can take. Not that you couldn't mix before, but these are essentially the anythings. So you're taking Be'lakor because you keep running him as your crutch. Tell us about your crutch.
Well, to be fair, okay. So first of all,
Tell me about your crutch.
First of all, I didn't used to run him. Second of all,
so you only did it when he got meta and good? Is that what
no,
you're
he
saying?
was way more meta. No, he was way more meta in 9th edition. No. The only reason I run him, and I think I told you this, was because it's him or a Shalaxi, and because I can't run another Scarbrand, I can't run another Bloodthirster. So the only way to run another Kaiju is take 2 Demon Princes, which I do now, right?
You do.
Well, no, sorry. I take 2 Demon Princes, sorry. Is to either take Be'lakor or Shalaxi. That is the only way that I could play my list because I can't fit any other big corn demons in there. Or a knight. I could take a knight as well.
So I just take Be'lakor. There's other units that exist in the world.
Well, true, but the Kaiju list, the theme is
take one of these crazy seeker things. There you go.
Their base isn't big enough.
That's base is pretty big.
It is still. It's stupid. All right, so Be'lakor.
He's 3 something, right? He's like 350. I gotta look him up.
325. He's actually
325.
A lot of the named characters are cheaper than what I thought.
I think they want people to use the named characters. I think it's very intentional that named characters are cheap.
I was gonna say someone explained to me, and I really like the way they explained it. It's because now you can take leaders and squads, right? Mm-hmm. So now it's almost a mandatory tax for. So yeah, some infantry got cheaper, but not really because now you're running them with leaders.
Yeah.
And so the leaders got cheap. So they're still more expensive, but the leaders went down because, if I'm taking Trajan with 3 wardens, only 3, well, actually, hold on. Did I do that math right? Yes. No, 6 wardens. 6 wardens is 300 points, right? Before, 6 wardens was like, 400, 500 points. But now it's only 300. But now I'm taking Trajan. Oh, crap. Now I'm like, 400 again. It's back to the same. I don't know if that made any sense.
Oh, yes. All I know, though, is when your footset stopped, that is the position where Be'lakor carried you to your wins. So tell me about him.
Very true. So Be'lakor. Be'lakor is, for those who don't know, by the way, Be'lakor is a demon that is wishing to basically, I think, become the next god, if I'm not mistaken. But he basically is a demon prince loved by all gods. Weirdly enough, lost all the characters for all the gods. He used to have keyword Khorne, Nurgle, Slaanesh, and Tzeentch. Lost all that. So interesting that they did that. Made sense though. So anyway, Be'lakor. Movement 12, toughness 10, is a 4-up save, 18 wounds, 6 leadership, and OC 5. So he's basically a greater demon.
Yeah.
Ish. Not as many wounds as the named demons, not as high toughness. He's like a Slaanesh level, but he's a better demon prince. He is a thicker demon prince. All right. So he's got a couple of things with him. He's got Deadly Demise D6 as kind of like all the bigger ones. He's got Deep Strike. He has Stealth. So he's -1 to be shot at. He has the Dark Master aura. So basically anything within 6 inches of him is considered to be within your Shadows of Chaos.
Which you never remember.
Which I never, well, mostly to be fair, it's because I own the midfield anyway. So I always forget this.
Way to humble brag there. Go ahead.
Yeah, way to humble brag. Got beat by opponent's ass. No. I own the midfield by turn 1, turn 2. So I always forget this, but I should start remembering it when I start like taking into tournaments because I'm going to start facing like Eldar and stuff like that where I don't want to be as aggressive. And then shadow form. So shadow form, you select 1 shadow form at the start of the battle round. I want to point out, by the way, it's the start of the battle round, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think I've been playing this wrong. But it's not at the start of your battle round.
No, you don't have a battle round. You have a turn.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yes.
I just want to make sure I wasn't cheating because some things are at the start of your turn, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure. So you select one of the shadow abilities. I'll go over the shadow abilities right now, even though they're kind of on the bottom. Oh, sorry. He does have a bracket. He subtracts 1 from the hit roll when he goes to 1 to 6. So the shadow abilities. I've used 2 of these, and 1 of these I've never used. You could probably guess which one. So Wreath and Shadow. Basically, When a friendly Legion Demonica unit is within 6 inches of this model, that unit can only be targeted by range attacks if attacking model is within 18 inches. This is the one I use the most.
Yeah.
This saves your. Now again, this is less effective when you run a normal demon army, when you have like multiple units,
You won't be able to get everyone within 6. You can get a
exactly.
lot, but you won't be able to fit everyone. Or
When you're
would you,
doing
nor
my
would you want to.
stupid, yeah, when you're doing my stupid kaiju list, yeah, that makes sense that all of them are in there. But it's not wholly within either. So you just need a toesy touch in. So yeah, this is amazing. Turn one. If you lose turn one, they can't target you unless you're within 18. If they get within 18, then congratulations. Almost all your big beasties, except your great unclean one, move super fast. Um, is this the one I use? I'm trying to remember. Let me read it. And the second one, it's called Pall of Despair. And the battle shock step of your opponent's command phase, if an enemy unit is below starting strength, is within 6 inches of this model, that unit must make a battle shock test. For the purposes of this ability, if the unit has a starting strength of 1, it is considered to be below its starting strength while it lost 1 or more wounds.
Yeah. So you, rather than under half, you battle shock if you've taken any damage.
Any damage
within
whatsoever.
6 inches of him.
And that's, yes, I have used that Ball of Despair. Oh no, I've used the next one, Shadow Lord, because I monsters that have take battle shock. The last one you could choose is Shadow Lord. Units within 6 inches can reroll battle shock and leadership test taken for that unit if you're within 6. Legion Demonica, which I've used before. Like once you're in close combat or you're within 18, I switch to this aura because it's like, okay, my monster already took like 8, 12 wounds. I don't want him to fail battle shock. I really need him to re-roll it in case he battle shocks himself. I don't think I've used Pall of Despair yet. But would I?
There's nothing wrong with it. If you,
yeah,
if he's in
just
a position,
I haven't had a chance for it.
Yeah, if he's in a position where you have a lot of enemy units near you, they're probably injured. This is an army that gets D3 mortals when they fail battle shock, and a lot of armies don't want to fail it because of the other bad parts that happen. So
yeah, no. All right, so range weapon, he's got a couple. He's got specifically one, but he can switch between two things. It's basically Betraying Shades. Again, you can go between hazardous and not hazardous. I think the difference is they both get devastating. They both get ignored. All right, so the rules don't change. So they're both 18 inches. It goes from 9 to 12 attacks, from 5 to 6 strength, from AP2 to AP3, but it's only damage 1. I have hazarded this before just to get the extra AP, and it does help. But if it's like, if strength 6 isn't good at, like, let's say the guy's tough to 7, cough, Alaris Terminators from Custodians, and the AP3 is not going to matter, then I just don't hazard this. It's just good for like variant play. You know, I can get to the AP2, I can get to the AP3, whatever. Melee weapons, he's got this also I always forget, by the way. You'll see in a second. So
Strike has lethal hits, and you don't remember that?
Yep, 100% always forget. So he's got a blade. He can strike or sweep it. So you get 6 or 14 attacks, which is weird, by the way. Usually the sweeps get double. Not sure why this goes to 14. I thought it was a misprint at first, but whatever. So he goes 6 or 14. They both hit on 2s. Strength 14 or strength 8. AP 4 or AP minus 3. D6 plus 1 damage or 1 damage. And I will say real quick, the sweep is surprisingly nasty. Most of the sweeps that you've seen have been 1 damage, with the exception of like 1-2 damage from Scarbrand. So you're thinking, 1 damage. But if you notice, all the sweeps have been -1 rend. Like the strike has always been -4, and the sweep has always been -1.
Yeah.
His sweep is -3, which is interesting.
You don't do tons of damage per hit, but you have a lot of hits, and it's very likely that you will damage them.
Yes. So it's funny. I will actually sweep a unit of intercessors, only because that AP minus 3 still makes them a 6-up save, and even though it takes 2 of them to kill them, I'll still kill probably more intercessors with the sweep.
Yeah. Well, you figure you've more than doubled your attacks. You're still wounding on 2s either way at the strength 8. They get a save instead of having none. It's a trade-off. You'd have to do the math. It probably, on average dice, it probably comes out a little bit ahead, but it has the chance of coming out much further ahead because you have over twice the amount of attack. So you statistically can go spike much higher.
But yeah, that's Be'lakor. honestly, he was more auto take last, like literally auto take last edition.
Yes.
It was called Codex Bellicor for a reason. Less auto take, but still as much auto take as many of the named characters are. I'll put it this way, like he's no more auto take than Trajan or Shalaxi if you're playing Slaanesh or Scarbrand if you're playing Khorne.
Yeah, but so far I don't see games people talk about without those.
No, there have. I've been tournaments without Bellicor. There have been tournaments without Bellicor. There was a weird one where Demon got 5th without Bellicor. Right. There really haven't been demons on the top 5. Sad. I've been following a lot of the Meta Mondays and stuff just to see their Chaos Demons. Chaos Demons are sitting at a healthy, very healthy 48 to 50% win rate. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, that's what you want. 50% is ideal.
I hate when it goes higher, like 67. Like right now, GSOs are at 75% or 70%. Since the Elder
I haven't looked much through them. I'll have to look through them. We won't discuss it here, but I got to look through them to see why they're doing so well.
But the TLDR, Dave, is that the recursion of Gene Stealer Army with the Mortal Wound application. Oh, yeah, it's ridiculous.
Okay.
But yeah, no, he is still as auto take as many of the other named characters are. You could still build an army without him, but if you take him, he absolutely is amazing. Just alone, not Go ahead.
He's never making your list worse.
No.
To me, the idea of auto take is not that I must take it, but if it always will make me better, like no matter my list, no matter what way you've put your demon list together, if you have the points and want to throw him in, your list has gotten better. And your list has probably gotten better more than what you could spend that last like 3 something on anyway. So Reeds and Shadows alone is worth the price of admission.
Yes.
Because it's a shooting edition.
1,000%. 1,000. That has saved my ass on so many occasions because the opponent on the turn 1, let's say they take turn 1, has to make a choice. If they take a shooting army, they will have to move in 18 inches. And if they move in 18 inches, I move 12. I don't even have to advance in charge. If I want to, I can advance in charge, but I don't even need to advance in charge.
Yeah.
So it is a very big save ability. Or I've used this to get behind buildings in the midfield. It's a really neat ability.
Yeah. I mean, he is good.
And a surprisingly cool model. I will admit it now.
Yeah, now
I
that
like
you
the
own
head.
it.
Yeah, the head is actually what got me to like it. The chains, thank God I took out all the chains though. So stupid. Oh,
yeah.
So dumb.
All right.
Anyway.
From that, I had a Soul Grinder at one point. I had some demon stuff and apparently got rid of it.
They actually got good.
Soul Grinder is really good.
Fun fact, they actually got a base now. Do you know what the base size is?
Hey, good for them.
Do you know what the base size is? Do you know what the largest base GW makes?
Not off the top of my head now.
So I'm not a weird your Unclean One is 130. That is not the biggest. 160. It is a 160 millimeter base.
It's a big base.
It's fucking massive.
Yeah. He is 215, so he's also a pretty good price. So this is your vehicle. So he is 8 moves, so pretty quick actually. Toughness 11, like a vehicle. He has a 3-up save, but also 4-up invul, so he actually does have a better armor, so I want to mention that. 14 wounds, 7 leadership, he's 5 objectives. He has Deadly Demise D3. He is a Scuttling Walker. So, I'll read it and then we'll make sure we understand this distinction. Each time this model makes a normal or advanced move, it can move over friendly and monster vehicles and terrain features that are 4 inches or less in height as if they were not there. Normally, infantry can move over monsters and vehicles, but not vice versa. And monster vehicles can move over the infantry, but they can't move over each other. So monster can't go over another monster and stuff like that.
Exactly.
He can do it over his own friendly. So you can't do it over enemy, but you can at least still go over your friendlies.
What the hell monster is only 4 inches tall?
What monster? Probably some of the secret chariots.
Oh, are they?
Some of those chariots, because remember, in the game, you don't count like crazy things that are sticking off a model. So like if your whip is in the air, you don't count the whip. So those models, I bet, are 4 or less. There's probably actually quite a few if you don't count all the extras off of people. All right, so I'll go over his melee first, and then we'll talk about his range, because his range depends on what god you align him to. So he starts with an Iron Claw, 5 attacks, hits on 3, strength 16, AP minus 3, D6 plus 2. So he essentially has a close combat las cannon for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
He comes with a warp sword, but you can replace it with the work claw if you want. The sword is 3 attacks, hits on 3, strength 8, AP minus 2, D6 damage. The claws, and these are both extra, will give you double the attacks, so 6 attacks, same strength, same to hit. It's AP minus 1, but a flat 2. I can see that absolutely being a trade-off. Me personally, I would probably go with the sword. The reason I'm going with the sword is because my claw is already wanting to be anti-big heavy items.
Yeah.
So I want the D6 damage rather than the flat 2 to give myself the ability to spike 4 or 5 damage additional onto your, vehicles or walkers or whatever it is I'm swinging
Yeah.
for. You get less attacks with it, but I'm okay with that. All right. So, range weapons. It comes base with a Harvester Cannon. So that's 36-inch range, 3 attacks, hits on 3, strength 10, AP 1, and does 3 damage. So, respectable gun.
Yeah, damage 3 is pretty respectable, actually.
Now, the big thing with this guy is depending on when you pick him, you have to select one of the gods to align yourself to. Depending on which one you select, you get an additional range weapon. For Khorne, you're going to get the Torment of Burning Blood. Tzeentch is Warp Gaze. Nurgle's Flame Bombardment. Slaanesh is Scream of Despair. So, for Khorne. Good. Just making sure we're in the right spot. For Khorne, that Torment of Blood ignores covered torrents. A torrent weapon with 2d6 shots. Strength 5, AP minus 1, 1 damage.
It's Skarbrand's flame weapon.
Yes.
That's
exactly
is,
this, yeah. To me... So to me, the problem I kind of see with that is it starts... You can split shots to different things, but it muddles a little bit of his main targets. A lot of his other stuff is going for big, heavy things, and that weapon really isn't, but that's okay. If you go Nurgle, Flame Bombardment, it's a blast, indirect fire, although your other weapon, you need sight, but at least you can indirect to someone trying to hide out. And lethal hits. 36-inch range, it's D6 plus 1 shots, hits on 3, strength 7, AP minus 1, 2 damage. Very nice in terms of that lethal hits and the indirect fire, because you can target the unit they were attempting to keep out of line of sight. Maybe they're weaker backfield objective holder, and with strength 7, decent chance of wounding some of those like lighter units. AP minus 1 with a flat 2 damage, you're going to start cutting down models that way. If you go Slaanesh, Scream of Despair, it's devastating wounds and also sustain hits 1. 24-inch range against 6 shots, hitting on 3s. It's strength 9, AP minus 2, 2 damage. Does quite good.
That was really good.
It matches the Harvester Cannon well, so you can kind of plow them both into the same target. If you want to split this off into like some 2-wound style infantry, probably wounding on 2s. They're not getting a great save at the minus 2. You're really plinking them down. So pretty good one.
Got some devastating wounds, sustained hits.
Yes. Yeah, and the devastating wounds is great. If you can get one of those off, just throw mortals on people. The one, not surprising, the one I like the most is Warp Gaze, the Tzeentch one. But the reason being, it is blast, which is nice. 40-inch range, so it's the longest one. D3, number of shots, hits on 3s. It's strength 12, AP minus 2, D6 minus 2. So you are essentially, again, you're firing like a last...
Minus 2, plus 2, plus 2.
Sorry, plus 2, my solid shit. D6 plus 2. The reason I somewhat like it the most is it pairs very nicely with the Harvester Cannon, and it pairs very nicely with the way I want to run his close combat stuff. So when I look at Demons, when I look at what I want my original unaligned stuff to do, because I'm going to align it, but what originally starts as unaligned, the biggest thing I think a lot of stuff that Demons lack is is spots where they take out the really big items, the really big enemies, the really heavy vehicles. They have certain things, but I'm not necessarily wanting to dedicate my 400-point giant monster to go take down, your vehicle. And exactly. I can't always put my other items or other units at it, because they might struggle even against, a rhino. Yeah. If you think about it, because of the toughness and save stuff like that, where this guy can fill what to me is a gap that they have, which is good, reliable anti-tank. I mean, again, if you take one of the other gods, you can get some more infantry stuff, but Go
I
ahead.
mean, for 215, that's a nice vehicle. And just for people, I will say, because again, I've been following the tournaments, this has seen tournament play and in pretty good lists going, 4-1 or 3-2.
Yeah, the
This
list I
has
built
seen
had
tournament
two of them.
play. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm
Oh, I
not
could have built
saying
that.
that they have nothing else to deal with vehicles, but like I want my 300 plus point greater demon to be able to target whatever I want. You got a big
Yeah.
heavy unit of Terminators. You got your cool special character. That's where I want to be able to go. I don't want to have to go and hit their okay-ish vehicle because my other guys aren't going to do much to it. Maybe, not even really tie it down. This guy in range can cut them down potentially. And if he gets close to melee, he can. Or if someone else comes into him, his weapons are good enough to really make them decide, do I rush at this guy? So I am a huge fan of Soul Grinder. Like I said, in my list that I built, I took two. I purposely
All right.
didn't take Bellacore though, because I didn't want to. I wanted to kind of vary it up, but I
I
went
know.
through Soul
Yeah. In our
Grinders.
games, we're not going to take Bellacore. I'm not taking
No,
Bellacore either.
I took that. And I think I took a Demon Prince as well because I just wanted to test it out.
I think
I
I
don't know
took
when we'll
Demon.
record that, but we'll do that soon.
Yeah, I have my list. I can't remember if I fit a Demon Prince in or not. Speaking of Demon Prince, let's talk about the walking Demon Prince. Which, side note, I
He's
think this is
better.
probably one of the coolest. No, 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 no. I've had my winged one. Wait, hold on. Wait. I
All
like
right,
my winged one a lot.
bet you do.
Um, he's a goddamn missile, is what he is. But no, so probably one of the best kits GW has put out. I absolutely
The new one
adore
is
this
very
kit.
nice, but that one
It's just
face is goofy. It's
oh
awful,
so
and I hate it.
stupid. But you saw mine, right? You saw the Demon Prince,
I'm sure
the
I
the
have.
different heads. Yeah, the one with the wings.
I'm sure I have.
Oh god.
I edited
um.
you. No, you didn't play it in that game versus Josh, so I might not have stared at it up
Oh,
close.
that's right. It was against the Grey Knights player. That's where you would have seen it,
Yes.
Dan. So
Yeah,
anyway,
other Dan.
Movement
Yeah.
8, toughness 10, 2-up save. So it is different from the invulnerable. 2-up save, 4-up invulnerable. 10 wounds, leadership 6, OC 3.
It's
He is
215 points.
Oh yeah, 215.
Yep.
Deadly Demise D3, deep strike. So he is the Prince of Darkness. He basically all Legion Demonica units within 6 inches of this model now have stealth. Mwah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That automatically is amazing. He doesn't just grant stealth to himself, he grants stealth to everyone, which is amazing. So he also, once per battle at the start of any phase, until the end of that phase, you get a 3-up invulnerable, which is good. It's good for tanking. You can choose four of the demonic allegiances. So if you're Khorne, you add 2 to the strength characteristic of your Hellforged weapons, which are your melee weapons. If you're Tzeentch, you add 3 to the attack characteristic of your Infernal Cannon, which is your gun. Which actually I should say. So if you're Khorne, you go from strength 8 to strength 10 for the strike and strength 6 to strength 8 for the sweep. For Tzeentch, you go from 3 attacks to 6 attacks for the gun. If you're Nurgle, you add +1 to the model's toughness. You go from toughness 10 to toughness 11. And if you're Slaanesh, you add 2 inches of movement. So you go from 8 to 10. For his weapons, he's got actually pretty good weapons. 24-inch Infernal Cannon, 3 attacks, hits on 2, strength 5, AP 1, do damage. Again, nice little plinker. I think it's a heavy bolter. 3 shots.
It's like a giant
5 AP 1. 2. Yeah, it's a heavy bolter. It's a heavy bolter. And then Hellforge weapons. So he could strike or you could sweep, which is great. You have 6 attacks hitting on 2s. That's strength 8, AP 2, 3 damage. Or 14 attacks. Again, very much Bellacore. Oh, where do you get the extra attacks from? 14 attacks hitting on 2, strength 6, AP 0, 1 damage. For 215, an absolute steal and an actual good model to run with your demons. Granting 6-inch stealth. Remember, it's only to the model. So if you get a smidgen of that model, it grants it to the unit.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, just an amazing, amazing model for 215. He's a little slow, but he matches the speed of all your stuff.
To your list where almost everything flies.
Well, no. But Well, I'm saying I'm not even talking about my kaiju list. But I'm saying he looks a little slow. Let me first say he looks slow at 8 inches, but he matches the speed of everyone else. And if you're Slaanesh, he goes 10 inches anyway, so he's going to match the speed. And with a 3-up invulnerable, he will tank stuff if they decide to shoot him.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, he's great. There's really not much to say about him. He's just a good model.
So which allegiance won?
Well,
Who was the winner?
man. So okay,
You can't sit on a fence. They're sharp on top.
no,
And
no, I'm
they'll
not
hurt
sitting
you.
on the fence. The only reason I'm struggling is because it depends on the local meta, right? So not a lot
You're
of people in
going
Maple.
somewhere you don't know what the meta's going to look like. Which one do you like most?
Oh,
Or instead, you could tell me which one you like the least. If there's
oh,
one that you
Zinch. I
feel is
don't.
this.
Okay, so Zinch. It's Zinch or Slaanesh I'm not liking. I'm liking the least. Probably Slaanesh because 10-inch move, meh, it's an extra 2 inches. Sure, it matters sometimes, but it's the least effective. Zinch adding 3 extra shots to your Infernal Cannon is cool, but it's a 6-shot heavy bolter. You'll maybe kill a Marine, maybe 2. If you're lucky, you want to be in melee with him, is where you want to be, or at least nearby. The Nurgle one or the Corn one are my favorite. Nurgle adding +1 toughness is actually scarily good. Um, it all of a sudden makes any of the strength 10 weapons that were targeting him now needing 5s, which is great.
Now,
And
is there a
oh,
lot of strength 10 weapons in the game? I
there's a
haven't
lot of
looked
strength
enough.
10.
Okay,
There's
that's
a lot of
pretty
strength
common.
9. And then when you start getting like to Las Cannon, that's 12.
Okay. Because that's what I was wondering. The Nurgle is nice, the 1 extra toughness. But I wasn't, or even strength 5, it helps a lot because now, or strength, no, 5 was
No, it doesn't matter.
still doing
There's no
it
break
before.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no break point for it. It models for it matters for the shooting. I can't think of any strength 10 melee. Although I know that knights, right? Knights have strength 20 on the lance. So now you're wounding on 3s.
Yeah. Nurgle might be not necessarily a sneaky good pick, but there is definitely games where
there's
it'll matter.
play.
There's
Yes.
games where it'll do nothing because they weren't hitting you with high strength stuff. But there's going to be
Exactly.
some games where you're going to shift that die by 1.
As much as I hate, and people will probably roll their eyes, I think Corn is the best pick.
I agree. I think Corn's the best pick.
Because you want to be close enough to your models to provide the stealth. You want him in melee because he is a monster, so he's going to get shot anyway. So might as well get that -1. And he goes from strength 8 to strength 10, which is a break point.
Yes.
That is a break point. Or you go from strength 6 to strength 8. That is a break point.
Yeah.
So I think Corn is the best on this one.
He starts becoming even like a reliable Terminator killer. Terminators without shields are toughness 5, 3 wounds. He will get to wound them on 2s now with the AP -2. Sweet. The Slaanesh I do like as well, but honestly, the reason I'm not as big on fan on Zinch or Slaanesh is because if the other stuff on my list is faster, then I'm probably just advancing anyway with this guy, so I wasn't going to be shooting. And my advance is going to get me the few extra inches to get me to the position I want to be at.
Yep. Although, so Zinch, remember, monsters can shoot into combat.
Yes.
So maybe getting an extra 3 shots on a cannon might be good if he's stuck in combat. It's something. It's not useless. It's not like I was saying. When we say worst, it's not like don't ever take this. It's still useful.
Well, let's face it. If you're taking a mono god, you're going to take him to asphyxiate to the god that you have.
Exactly.
All the choices will fit their respective sides well. If you're running a mixed list, though, I would probably most likely run him as Corn because I'm going to want that extra strength to really be able to get through some models rather than a little bit faster, maybe the tougher, but I'm more worried about being able to deal good damage.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So the very last thing we have here then is for 20 points cheaper. This one's $195. And we are taking a look at the Daemon Prince slaps some wings on this bro. He's now moved 12. Toughness 9, so he loses a toughness. Still the 2-up save. He is 10 wounds. Was he 10 before?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
The only thing that goes down is he goes up and move down in toughness.
Okay, thank you. And its objective control is 3. Wasn't it 5 before? Or was it 3?
No, 3.
Okay. All right, thank you. He has Deadly Demise D3, of course. So for his abilities, he has Malefic Destruction. Once per battle, at the start of the fight phase, this model can use this ability. If it does, until the end of phase, adds 3 to the characteristics. Its weapon is the same one we just saw, but you can get +3 attacks on all of it. So you can be 9 attacks with your big strike or 17 attacks with a sweep. Once per battle, but you choose the right time, that can absolutely be huge. Harbinger of Death. Each time this model is selected to fight, select one of the following abilities. Until the end of that phase, this model's Hellforged weapon had that abilities. So you can give your melee weapons lethal hits, precision, or sustained hits 1.
Precision, babe. And that's what I was talking about. I think he's a secret good pick. 12-inch move, running with your big boys, and then you just toss him at a character squad, blow the 9 attacks at AP -2/3 damage with precision. You might just nuke that character down. There's a
You
very
could.
good
If your
chance.
goal is character hunting, this one is obviously one of the better character hunters that you have outside of like some of the crazy like Slaanesh stuff that we've talked about. But so this one is very good for characters. Lethal hits is really good, especially with that strike, especially on the turn when you get the extra 3. Sustained hits is useful as well. I see sustained hits maybe being really good on the sweep. Maybe that's the one I want because I'm already getting so many attacks, get a few extras. Tough strength 6, I'm going at a lighter target if I'm sweeping it. Weapons are what we just saw. Demonic allegiances are exactly the same things we just saw.
Exactly the same.
I think
So
for the stealth, I like the other one a little more. The other one supports my army. This one helps himself. And I already have a lot of pieces that want to help themselves. I want someone who helps my army.
in a mixed, I say you take the one without wings. In a mono, I would actually take both.
But say you had to only take one. Because I like making you make tough decisions.
No, I would take the one without wings.
Okay, so if you're grabbing one, probably no wings.
Unless I'm Nurgle. Nurgle's main problem is it lacks damage and character assassination. So if I'm Nurgle, I would actually take the one with wings because
And
I'm already
speed.
normalized as in speed. So I will take wings with Nurgle.
Yeah.
If I was Corn,
Corn, I want it to be harder to shoot me because I'm really not
yeah,
shooting much. And
I
I
would
need
be
to
harder
get
to
there.
shoot. Zinch, probably again harder to shoot because they're mostly shooting.
Yes.
Slaanesh can go either way. So Slaanesh can go either way because their character killer is only Shalaxi, really. That's their only character killer. So if I toss him in the list, now my opponent is like, oh shit, he's got 2 people that with precision. So in Slaanesh, I actually probably won the one with wings, believe it or not.
I could see that with
Just
Slaanesh. Because
yeah,
Slaanesh has the speed to get there before they're getting shot up quite as much. Although they're
exactly.
not as tough. In general, their toughness is lower. So that -1 onto hit, because they're tending to wound you on a +1 and on, like your Daemonettes versus their bolters and stuff like that compared to what it would be for other ones. The other thing is you were talking about how that +1 toughness was so big. So this thing being toughness 9 compared to the 10, that could be a pretty
Yes,
decent break point.
that's an actual break point.
Yeah. If I had to do one, I think I would still do the one on foot in general. But I absolutely see the spots for this one. And if I wanted to run 2, I am taking one of each. And this one's going to go that once per game with the precision to go hunt down your characters. All the rest of the time, maybe lethal hits just to get some auto damage into people. But, all right. All right, I am glad that we waited till today to get through this because it took us about an extra hour, so it would have been like midnight by this point. But we're on to final thoughts related to all of this. So,
Yeah.
you play Demons.
Yeah. I like them a lot. I think so I played them last edition very rarely. Because that was more me playing Custodies because I was still painting the demons as well. Now that they're all done, I did play them. I like them this edition. They're very thematic, especially with the Shadows of the War, Shadows of the Warp. God damn it,
Shadow of Chaos.
Shadows of Chaos. Stupid Tyranids. Their stratagems are pretty damn good. Even additional -1 rend in the fight phase, right? Or shooting phase, or fight phase. That's still great. Going from Rend 2 to Rend 3 or Rend 1 to Rend 2. That's massive in case you're playing Space Marines with Armor of Contempt. Their enhancements are all great. 4 up pain, adding 2 to the attacks, uh, killing a model, regaining a wound. I think
That's
the
actually really
Zinchra
good on
was
these Demon Princes if you're running
yeah.
Slaanesh.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, that would actually be really good
Uh,
on one of these because you can put them into the right things, and then 10 wounds you can make it a lot more survivable.
yep. Um, and then the different demons just play exactly how you would think they would. Um, they just play great. Corden is a beast. He no longer does Scarbrand get worse as he gets wounded, or bloodthirsters go to 4 up to hit, right? They will hit you on a 2. Oh, are they wounded? They will still hit you on a 2 because they get +1 to hit. Maybe a 3 if you give them like -2 to hit. So it's like they will hit and they will hit hard. Nurgle is just a beefstick. Zinch is really annoying because he just has a lot of ranged firepower. And Slaanesh does a disgusting amount of mortal wounds. And then you have, of course, the unaligned. Soul Grinder finally is a model you can play and it works. It just feels good. This is a
Mm.
good middle, like it's not, super S broken Eldar bullshit list. It's not super S tier, like, oh man, they get like a 60 to 70% win rate. No, it's good. This feels good to play army. And like I said, out of the whole, 118 pages, right? Hold on. 116 pages,
Yeah,
we were
116.
meh about what? 3 units?
Yeah,
Maybe 2?
yeah, we were
Shows you great in turn.
overall at least flat to positive on everything but about 3 things.
Yeah. So I mean, like, that's internal balance in my opinion, and the points
Yeah.
are okay. Like this is. I really, really hope that they don't, because no one's towering here. GW, don't change it. But this feels like a great, like, just good army.
Um,
That's
from what
that's
you've
really
seen so far, does it seem like more of in tournament play? It's more of a mix, or does it seem a little more
it is.
mono?
There are literally 2 lists
Okay.
that have been doing top table. One list is you take all the named characters.
Yeah, I remember you told me
So
about that one.
it's,
Yeah.
yeah, and then the other one was a mix, and it's a weird mix.
Okay.
It's like 2 units of flamers. Um, you have some demonettes. You have blood crushers. You have plague bearers, and then a
Hmm.
couple greater demons here and there with like 2 soul grinders. It's a very weird, but basically you're selecting, like,
You're
okay, I need the
grabbing
blood
you're grabbing
crushers.
the best part, and you're deciding what they need to do. Your
Exactly.
Daemonettes are going to rush forward to grab far objectives. Your Plague Bearers are going to hold on to the objectives as you walk forward. You're going to
Blood
corrupt your
crushers are,
backfield.
yep,
Yeah, Crushers are going to be there to push
the line
forward and
breaker.
protect
Yep.
because they're going to smack into the things that are going along. Your Soul Grinders are going to take out their ranged damage dealers. So no, that list, that idea makes sense to me.
Yeah. It's yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, no, I love the way they play. Like I said, I played Custodians twice, and just, I don't know, they weren't fun to. There, it seemed like my opponents didn't have fun. And so far, I played my demons. I mean, I've played the kaiju list, and even though I've won so far, I haven't seen anyone really upset that I've won, like that I've seen. Like, you could tell when someone's kind of salty, like, oh man, I lost that game. But so far, it's been like people laugh because it's like when you like, when you kill a bloodthirster and it goes crazy and does 6 mortal wounds to everyone around him like an idiot. Um, I don't know. It's just it seems like a really fun army to play. And there's so many different things you can do with this. And you could
Yeah.
play Mono God and it works.
I think that's the biggest thing. So what my takeaway from this, so when I think about an army like this, I would always, at least in my viewpoint, the way I put it together, start with a more sort of monocod and then build from there. And depending on what I want to do with it, I'll alter it. I do think all the monogods can work. I think some are a little bit better than others, and I think some of them have very, very different play styles. I think with it being a bit of a shooting addition, some might struggle a little more than others, but I think it's absolutely viable. I think there's a good variety of each of these units in there, so you can run them that way. And I think if you're doing a mix, there's good cherry picking out of all of them. If you're not going for, and what you would want to pick, whether you're going competitive or more friendly, still the choice that makes sense. Like, you're probably going to want some Plaguebearers because they're good objective control and they're harder to shift. Okay, they do a really good job. You look at Slaanesh. Well, oh, I need some stuff with some speed. Oh, they got some good options. Maybe those Secret Chariots because of what they can do. And hey, they give me mortals, and I need a little bit of that. The different greater demons, those you could kind of just grab whichever one you like the most because they all maybe serve a little bit of a different purpose, but they all can do the job well. They can all do the, get into a bigger target, maybe other than Tzeentchian ones, but all the rest of them, they can get into a target, they can hurt someone in melee, all of that. So I see the mixture as doing well. I do think overall, I'm not surprised at all what you're saying, the two sort of top table lists that we're seeing right now. Because I think a lot of the named ones have a lot of very good abilities, and named is probably a little undercosted overall. And if you're not wanting to run that, although I will say probably the named one, if you misplay something, it might hurt a little bit more because you need them to support each other in very particular ways because of abilities and everything like that. So, you won't always be able to rely on your higher toughness and all to kind of get you through if they can hurt your toughness. Like if there are lists that can fight Imperial Knights well, you might have a bad day. But the other list, it absolutely makes sense to me because I think there's spots out of each of these pieces that feel like, that might be the best option I see in Khorne or Tzeentch or wherever. So you just grab those best options. Doing this, I'm excited to try these guys out. Like I said, I don't own any of it anymore. I sold it super long ago. I had it for 8th edition fantasy. So, and I had it for 40k back when Screamer Star was a thing. I ran it in a local tournament. It was as unfun for both sides as it sounded.
Screamer Star was the
2-up rerollable invul.
Oh God, Jesus!
It took several psychic powers to go off. So there is a chance you fail. Wasn't a great chance, but it was. And there was almost nothing else in the list because a lot of it had to go to make that happen. But you had a 2-up rerollable invul save on Screamers. So very tough to shift. It could do a lot of good. But I did one time miss one of the rolls. So it's like, oh, miss this roll? They run. Just go hide them because they're not going to do anything. And oddly enough, Grey Knights at the time, I forget their thing, but it like hurt your invul saves. So essentially you lost your rerolls because I think they made you reroll successful. You reroll fail, so you just lose rerolls. Or they did something crazy to you. And one of my games was against them. But overall, I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited to try. I don't know exactly when, because originally we thought tonight we would play, but now it's going to be having to do this over 2 nights, which is a good idea, because this is going to be one of our longer episodes. We might not do it tonight. Maybe we'll do it Thursday then or something. But I'm interested to try that out. One thing I was looking for that I'm having a hard time finding? What? A good computer-based list builder. Not phone app, because I know that's good, but it's tougher to show my phone
and Battlescribe won't
on this.
Do it.
No, because there's issues with Battlescribe. That's probably not going to happen.
Honestly, I just copy and paste it from the app, and then makes it a note file, basically. That's all I do.
So it might be something more where we do that, because I would want, to even talk about list building and stuff like that. It makes it tough right now. We can't actually do live list builds because I don't know if there's a good program for it that I've seen, at least. There might be some in the future. All right. Any other demon thoughts?
No, okay. They're just really cool.
You don't have to have any. Cool. It's okay to say no.
No. They're just a really cool starting army. And I should say their boxes are great too.
Yes.
They're what the hell are they called? I always forget.
Combat Patrol?
No. Wait, is it Combat Patrol?
The new big push from GW is Combat Patrol, because Combat Patrols can be played versus each other in a balanced game. They said, I haven't tried Combat Patrol. I do want to try it to see how it actually works. I think
they only have Khorne, though, in Combat Patrol. But looking at the Khorne box right now, yes. Yeah. It's only Khorne. It says Chaos Demons, but it's Khorne. And let me see here. You got... Oh, and it comes with the Herald, too? Oh, yeah, no, sweet. I actually like the Combat Patrol for Demons. It's actually legit cool. You get a lot of doggies. Nice. Okay.
Do you remember the Space Marine video game?
Yes.
Do you remember what demons were in it?
Yes, Corn Bloodletter specifically.
Yes.
They were paid in the ass.
Yes. And also
Oh,
specifically in that game, the the person talks about related to being magic and casters and all that kind of stuff. And then he summons corn demons.
yep.
I always thought that was funny. Because at the time I didn't realize it at first. So later on I'm like, wait, he's talking about like, magic and stuff like that, and here's corn. Like, wait, no, that doesn't hold. You're right, yeah, the combat patrol is all corn stuff. That's a shame. Oh man, some of the greater the Fate Weaver model is rather expensive. He's a pricey boy. I mean, it's all is. But all right, I think that'll do it for us tonight on the topics of demons. So other things that we have coming out shortly related to this. We are going to film a battle report. I just don't know exactly when. I am supposed to play Ark Nova tomorrow night. As of you guys hearing this, it would be the night you're hearing it. So maybe Thursday if the weather doesn't hold, because my wife might have an event, a Christmas in July event, but if the weather's bad, it's going to be the following week. So might be able to do it then. If not, we'll probably do it over the weekend. But we want to do some games related to these because we've talked about it. We want to actually, test it out and see how we feel. Does our opinions change when we actually try things out? As always, we do want to thank everyone who does listen. Remember, we're available on any podcatcher. If we're not on any of the particular podcatchers, reach out, let me know, and I'll make sure we get on there. We also put out this as well as a bunch of other content on YouTube. We have some battle reports. We have much better audio equipment now, so I'm hoping to record some stuff maybe even this weekend with that much better audio equipment, as well as some other solo stuff. So we do put out a bunch of other stuff on YouTube. As we try to grow ourselves, likes, comments, subscribes, all that kind of stuff, it really does help out a lot. As you know, a lot of things you don't get good into the algorithm until you start getting high enough numbers. We're getting pretty close. We want to get to the 1,000 subscribers and all there. So, it costs you nothing to do that, and it really does help a lot. If you want options that do cost you something, we do have a Patreon. With that, if you have the means and you like the content, we do ask that you take a look at it, consider it. We know we were a little light in June because of various things. Same reason we're hoping to get Steve back, get back to more some 30K and some other stuff very soon. Like I said, I really just want him here for when we do that because I think he adds a lot. And I know he doesn't really do 40K much, so it makes sense for us to talk about this while he's not around. So my hope is that he's either fixed his computer or now he's worked his new job long enough to afford a new one. But the Patreon stuff, like I said, it goes to stuff like our new audio equipment and all of that. It really does help us be able to, get this show and everything else that we want to be able to do. All right, for other things. So we know we're going to film that battle report. What else are we going to do? What are we doing either end of this week or next week? What's the plans? What do you want to do?
I don't know.
What 40K do you want to get to next? Who's the next one?
Oh, I'd say Necrons. We did my army. Let's do Necrons. Yeah, let's do Necrons.
Okay.
Mostly because I'm actually interested. I've heard some really cool things about Necrons. They're also they're hovering around 48-50% win rate.
Yeah.
Right now. And their lists are bonkers nuts.
Because you have to throw a lot of characters in it to give
but even
the
so,
things
like
that you
they've
want.
been completely different. Some of the lists that have made it to top 5 are like just insane. I've never what? Although I heard that some people have been cheating with Necrons, so that kind of sucks.
How are they cheating?
I can't remember what the GT was.
Okay.
But essentially what had happened was people were so apparently the Annihilation Barge or the transportation barge you have is on an oval base.
Yes.
Right. And so they were using you get a free pivot essentially, right?
Yeah.
And what they were doing was they were free pivoting to gain extra inches.
Oh, yeah, because that thing sticks out like 3 or 4 inches in front of that base.
Yes. And so one GT basically said you have to old fantasy rules. You have to measure the differentiation of the turn. Right?
Yeah. Measure your furthest turn movement.
Here's where it gets weird. That works for oval bases, right?
Yeah.
They said all
everything.
Models.
Yep. So you got to do it on round bases too.
Which makes no fucking sense. It makes no fucking sense. What?
Yeah. No, I heard that. I have heard that that's a thing too. I mean, gamey people are going to game. There used to be things what people would do, and I'll show this for anyone watching. They would take their vehicle, turn it sideways in the starting line, ready to go, boom, flip it, pivot it, it's middle, you're now a little bit more forward and move up. Obviously, that wasn't cool to do either. So, I mean, don't do scummy things. Go out there, and if you have to stand for a very long time to convince your opponent of something being okay, it's either one, not a well-written rule, or two, it's not a rule. There is weird things I know that some people didn't see at first, like was it Crypt Thralls being able to bring them back even if both of them are gone because of the way GW has worded everything, and absolutely it works as they have said. But you know, if your opponent really can't understand the rule and you're having to explain it to like a room full of people, there's a problem. All right, so we can do them next. Yeah, that'll work. So idea is we hopefully will get something else out this week. It might be something else that I'm doing personally, but we'll hopefully get at least something else out this week. We're probably looking at Necrons next. Necrons have tons and tons of units, so that might be a two-parter as well. Because I know they're an army with a lot. Same thing when we get the Space Marines. Space Marines are going to be multiple parts. But, all right. Remember, if you want to reach out to us, we do have a Discord. You'll see that in the show notes. We have a Facebook page. It is also in the show notes. If you want to email us, it's trainkickersnj@gmail.com. I do check it. I try to check it fairly often. So we have that as well. But on behalf of everyone here then at the show, have a good hobby and some great gaming.